Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. These ninjas can resist the constantly rising temperature around them with the chakra in their bodies. But the Uchiha children on the Moby Dick who are not very old, as well as those sailors who don't know ninjutsu, and the civilians of the Uchiha. When they face this high temperature, it probably won't take a few minutes for something to happen. Let me do it. Kisame volunteered, holding the large sword Seimada, and rushed directly towards the huge two-tailed beast. Although compared to the huge size of the tailed beast, his figure looks very petite. But Kisame's figure was still caught in Matetabi's sight. The two tails, Matetabi, raised a large paw without hesitation and slapped it horizontally towards Kisame's body, as if swatting a mosquito. Even though Matetabi's size is so huge, the speed of this tailed beast's movements is not restricted by this amazing size. Kisame, who had jumped into midair, was directly hit by Matetabi's slap, and his body exploded into pieces. But there was no blood at all. Instead, it shattered into a puddle of water. Big guy, this is water clone jutsu. Kisame had already appeared above Matetabi's head. As Kisame's body fell, he swung Seimada out. Seimada opened its big mouth, and bit down on Matetabi's big head. Suddenly, a large cluster of tailed beast chakra on Matetabi's head was bitten off by Seimada. Matetabi's head was missing a large chunk, and Seimada also burped satisfactorily. Seeing that he was about to fall on the blazing flames on Matetabi, Kisame quickly made hand signs with both hands. Water shock wave. He used the reverse impact of the water shock wave to bounce his body out. Then, he threw Seimada into the burning flames of the sea and stepped on Seimada with both feet. The handle of Seimada rotated quickly, like a large porcupine, breaking the waves and heading towards the distance. The actions of Kisame and Seimada, in Matetabi's eyes, were undoubtedly a serious provocation. Even a tailed beast with a good temper can't stand it. Matetabi let out a roar. The rolling sound waves made people's eardrums hum, and it turned around and chased after Kisame. On the other side, Sasuke, Neji, Hinata, the 3 of them were chasing a Chunin from Hidden Cloud's village. They knew that the commotion behind them was huge, but they were more clear that the battle behind them was not something the 3 of them could participate in. Sasuke and the others had already mastered the skill of walking on water, and there was no hindrance when they were running wildly on the sea. Damn it! The Hidden Cloud's village Chunin who was running in the front gritted his teeth. He took the time to look back. They actually forced Yujiro-sama to release the complete form of the two tails. The strength of the Whitebeard pirate crew was seriously underestimated by Hidden Cloud's village. It turns out that it's not that Hidden Leaf village is weak, but that the Whitebeard pirate crew is indeed strong enough to make a ninja village have to bow its head. And those 3 brats, how can they run so fast? They are only a few years old, and they can actually walk on water? In the memory of the Hidden Cloud's village Chunin, he learned the skill of walking on water when he was 13 years old. But these little brats, is there one over 10 years old? If he didn't see it wrong, there should be one from the Uchiha clan among these 2 brats, and the other 2 are from the Hyuga clan. After all, whether it's the Byakugan or the Sharingan, both are too conspicuous. It's hard not to find out their identities. Don't look down on people, 3 little brats. The extremely annoyed Hidden Cloud's village Chunin stopped directly. He unhesitatingly took out 3 shuriken from the ninja tools bag, and threw them back at Sasuke, Neji, and Hinata. Sasuke and the others stopped at the same time. Neji dodged the shuriken easily with a side body. Sasuke was even more better than Neji. With the help of the Sharingan's super dynamic vision, he actually caught the shuriken in his hand, catching the shuriken barehanded. Hinata also hurriedly dodged. The shuriken cut off a few of her hairs, but it didn't cause her any harm. The 2 of us will fight him head-on. Hinata, you assist on the side. Sasuke took the initiative to speak. He seized the captain command of the 3-person team. Neji didn't say much. He and Sasuke each held a kunai and rushed towards the Hidden Cloud's village Chunin. Ignorant pirate brats. Since you choose to throw your lives, then your eyes will all stay in my hands. The Hidden Clouds Village Chunin decisively pulled out the ninja's sword from behind his waist, and first slashed towards Sasuke. Sasuke quickly blocked this sword with his kunai. To block a long weapon with a short weapon, to block an adult's strength with a child's strength, he was actually able to resist it. Neji on the side had already rushed up, holding a kunai and stabbing towards the Hidden Clouds Village Chunin. If this hit is successful, I guess even a cow would bleed to death. The Hidden Clouds Village Chunin's pupils shrank, he hurriedly retreated a step back, dodged Neji's attack, and kicked towards Neji's head. But at this moment, a shuriken flew in through the air. It hit his foot very accurately. SSA. The Hidden Clouds Village Chunin screamed and glared at Hinata not far away. Damn Byakugan brat. Don't think that because you're an adult, you have the right to look down on 3 children. Sasuke's mouth corner slightly hooked up. The progress of their strength after joining the Whitebeard pirate crew is obvious to all. Sasuke still remembered that when he first entered the ninja school, he had no power to fight back against Iruka-sensei, a Chunin-level ninja from Hidden Leaf Village. But now, after joining forces with Neji and Hinata, he was able to injure a Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village in less than a minute of combat. Sasuke knew that his initial choice was the right one. Sasuke threw the kunai in his hand at the Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village in front of him. As the latter hurriedly swung his sword to block, Sasuke's hands had already formed a fire-style ninjutsu. Fire-style, Great Fireball. The fire-style, Great Fireball that Sasuke spat out caused the Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village's pupils to shrink. The Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village hurriedly jumped back, holding the ninja sword with his arm, and his palm also quickly formed seals. Lightning-style, Thunder Weasel technique. The Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village spat out a group of lightning that resembled a weasel-shaped creature. The lightning and flames collided violently on the sea surface. After the 2 ninjutsu of different attributes neutralized each other and stirred up a layer of water splashes, the Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village suddenly found a figure breaking through the waves and approaching him. It was that long-haired white-eyed kid. Gentle Fist, 8 trigrams 16 palms. Being able to use the 8 trigrams 8 palms at less than 10 years old is already a rare genius in the Hyuga clan. But at such an age, being able to use the Gentle Fist, 8 trigrams 16 palms, only someone as talented as Neji could do it. The Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village caught off guard, he could only barely dodge most of the attacks, but he was still hit by Neji a full 6 times. The Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village's body kept retreating, and the parts of his body that were hit felt a burning pain. A trace of blood even overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Damn. Little brats. You 3 have completely angered me. The Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village clapped his hands, but when he was about to form seals, he suddenly found that he couldn't mobilize the chakra in half of his body, and there was a strange feeling of blockage. What's going on? Why can't I mobilize my chakra? He didn't have information about Hyuga clan, so it's not uncommon for him to be tricked by Neji. On the other side, the huge two-tails, Matetabi, had already been led by Kisame to a sea area 500 to 600 meters away from the Moby Dick. Every step Matetabi's 4 huge cat paws took on the seawater underneath would burn fiercely. After chasing Kisame for a few steps, Matetabi was already impatient. Matetabi opened her exaggerated big mouth, and a surge of flame spewed out from her mouth, and in an instant, it turned into a sea of fire rushing towards Kisame. Water-style, Great Waterfall technique. Kisame turned around in time and slapped the sea surface with both hands. The huge wave that rose from the sea collided with a sea of fire, and the rolling steam made Kisame's skin a bit red. Kakashi, Shizui, and Izumi also quickly approached to assist Kisame. At the same time, on the Moby Dick, inside the captain's room that was built very large, Whitebeard slowly sat up from a large bed, twisting his neck. Whitebeard, who was bare-chested, revealed a body of exaggerated muscles. With his movements, the Whitebeard pirate's tattoo on his back also twisted slightly with the movement of his muscles. Whitebeard's mouth curled into a smile. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Akamagiri. Chapter 244, Whitebeard makes a move. Full body armament hockey plus Conquerors hockey vs Two Tails tailed beast bomb. Whitebeard, who picked up Akamagiri with one hand, put on a clean white cloak for himself, and also tied a black headband on his head, walked outside with a smile on his face. Bang! 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 The tail end of Akamagiri gently hit the deck, making a series of dull sounds. It was like a warning bell being rung, constantly falling on everyone's hearts. The group of Uchiha survivors and sailors who were taking refuge in the Moby Dick's cabin couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Their eyes all fell on Whitebeard's back. They could see that as Whitebeard walked outside, the big cloak on his back was fluttering slightly. Every move had the demeanor of a sea emperor. Even if Whitebeard didn't need to release Conqueror's Haki, people could still feel the aura of ruling the world. Gulp. Iruka couldn't help but feel a surge in his throat. He realized that Whitebeard might be about to make a move. He knew Whitebeard was very powerful, but to be honest, Iruka had never really seen Whitebeard make a move with his own eyes. When he was in Hidden Leaf Village, he had only seen the atmospheric rift that spread throughout Hidden Leaf Village, and had only seen the buildings destroyed by Whitebeard from a distance. But he didn't have the qualification to stand next to Whitebeard and watch him make a move. But at this moment, he realized that he might see it today. And the survivors of the Uchiha clan, who were looking at Whitebeard's back, had a look of admiration. After all, Whitebeard is their benefactor. Even if the Uchiha are naturally proud, they will be grateful to their lifesaver. Soon, Whitebeard's figure was bathed in the sunlight outside. He could feel the scorching heat outside, and when he looked at the sea, he could see the raging flames on the sea surface. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr shark's flames can't burn seawater. The smile on Whitebeard's face did not fade. He also thought of that silly son Ace. Whether it's Ace or Marco, their devil fruit abilities are all related to flames. Pops. You're awake? Haku, who was supporting Ino with one hand, looked at Whitebeard, because the battle in the distance was not something Haku could get involved in. Yeah, it's too noisy. No matter how deep you sleep, you will be woken up. Whitebeard smiled. He saw a captured ninja from Hidden Cloud's village. When the captured ninja from Hidden Cloud's village saw Whitebeard's huge figure, he felt the momentum emanating from Whitebeard. He was immediately scared and dared not make a sound. Then, Whitebeard's gaze looked hundreds or even nearly 1,000 meters away from the sea surface. The two-tails Matetabi, which is larger than Whitebeard, is clearly visible on the sea surface. What a big fire-breathing cat. But why is it so far away? Whitebeard casually asked. Pops, the flames of the two-tailed beast are very special. We are worried that it will hurt Moby Dick, so we led it to a distant place. Karen explained to Pops on the side. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Moby Dick. Whitebeard laughed heartily and boldly. If this kind of flame can burn the Moby Dick, then how can the Whitebeard pirates dominate the seas of the ninja world in the future? Who does that fire-breathing big cat think we are? We are the Whitebeard pirates. Call out all the sailors. Get the ship closer. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr These 5 people are all focusing on Kisame. Because in this vast sea environment, his water-style ninjutsu is simply divine. The power of ninjutsu has greatly increased, and the consumption of chakra has greatly reduced. Water-style, 1,000 feeding sharks. Kisame gently shouted, and slapped his palms on the boiling sea surface. Suddenly, countless sharks leaped out from the sea, rushed to midair, and then fell down on Matetabi like a heavy rain. Bang 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 bang, each shark's fall could smash a pit in the flames on Matetabi's back. But soon, the sharks were all evaporated into steam by the blazing flames. Seimata, be obedient. Kisame found that the Seimata in his hand was a bit disobedient. He knew that Seimata liked people with a lot of chakra. Kisame grinned. Seimata, you don't want to be beaten by Pops, do you? A short sentence made the restless Seimata quiet down instantly. You just ate a lot of tailed beast chakra, merge with me. After Kisame's words fell, Seimata actually merged with his body, and his human form also began to change. Help Kisame buy some time. Kakashi immediately made a decision, disregarding the crazy consumption of the not much chakra in his body. He stepped on the seawater and quickly formed seals, water-style, water dragon bullet technique. A huge water dragon emerged from behind Kakashi and hit Matetabi's huge head. Matetabi was disturbed by Kisame's 1,000 feeding sharks and didn't notice the ninjutsu used by Kakashi. Matetabi's big head was hit and slightly tilted. The huge body also staggered a bit. Big Fox. Full power ahead. Naruto was also stepping on the boiling seawater, and he had already formed a wind-style ninjutsu during this time. He spat out a fierce gust of wind. Wind-style, great breakthrough. Under the blow of the wind-style, great breakthrough, even the seawater under his feet was stirred up into a shocking wave of 10 meters high, and the strong gale made the flames on Matetabi somewhat shaky. Naruto, can you persuade your tail beast to lend me some chakra? Shizue appeared next to Naruto in an instant. Huh? Borrow chakra? Naruto was stunned. Shizue hooked the corner of his mouth. Because, I suddenly thought of a possibility, but I don't know if it can work. Because the possibility I thought of, without enough chakra, can't be used. Okay. Naruto didn't say a word and put a hand on Shizue's palm. The cold chakra from Kurama flowed from their palms and transferred to Shizue's body. A large amount of rolling chakra poured into Shizue's body. For a moment, a layer of orange red-tailed beast chakra even appeared on Shizue's body. And the veins on his body were trembling slightly. Shizue couldn't help but marvel at the power of Jinchuriki. Is this just a little bit of chakra? The quantity is so large that it's mind-boggling. Huh. Shizue explained, our Uchiha clan's Mengekyo secret technique Susanoo. According to the documents passed down from our ancestors, you must have 2 Mengekyo Sharingan to activate this supreme technique. But more than a year ago, I activated Susanoo with just 1 Mengekyo. At that time, I clearly felt that the Susanoo I activated had nothing to do with my only remaining guy. This might mean the Uchiha clan's Mengekyo Sharingan is actually just a key to open Susanoo. And once the door of Susanoo is opened by the Mengekyo Sharingan, it will never close again. So I thought of a possibility: can I, who has lost both Mengekyo Sharingan, open Susanoo without eyes? When Shizue's words fell, he didn't hesitate at all, he actually tried to do it. Huh. Shizue let out a deep breath, the chakra inside his body and the tail beast chakra surged together, the blood of the Uchiha clan was boiling. In an instant, he clenched his fists and shouted loudly. Susanoo. The chakra enveloping Shizue's body gradually turned into a ghostly green color, pieces of bones protected Shizue's entire body, the bones kept piling up, turning into a huge skeleton. The ghostly green skeleton's body size kept rising, and when it rose to more than 30 meters high, it slowly stopped. Shizue's body was floating in the heart of Susanoo. An extremely shocking aura enveloped the entire field. What is this? Naruto, who was at the foot of Susanoo, couldn't help but widen his eyes and looked up at this green skeleton monster. It's not quite the same as the last time I saw it. Naruto clearly remembered the last time he saw Shizue activate Susanoo. It was when Shizue was fighting a desperate battle with Denzo and a group of root members. At that time, Susanoo only had the upper body, but the upper body was covered with a thick armor, and it held a drill-shaped weapon in its hand, like a huge green demon. Shizue's Susanoo right now is a full-bodied skeleton. There is no armor covering its body. It looks like a dry big skeleton. Of course, even such a big skeleton, the momentum it exudes, also surprised Naruto. Can you activate Susanoo without Mengekyo Sharingan? Izumi Uchiha on the other side was greatly shocked. You should know that even if she has 2-3 Tomoe Sharingan, but still can't touch the threshold of Susanoo. Hey, isn't this a bit too exaggerated? They all say that the Uchiha's Sharingan is a cursed eye, but how I see it, it seems to be an eye blessed by the gods, right? Kakashi looked up in astonishment, looking at this huge green skeleton monster. In Kakashi's line of sight, the skeleton monster reached out and grabbed the air, and a simple weapon in the shape of a tree branch was generated from the palm of his hand. Sure enough, I guessed it. Shizue's mouth corner hooked up a smile, but the speed of consuming chakra is really fast. The tailed beast chakra that I just borrowed, in an instant, only 1/3 is left. At this height, Shizue only needs to slightly raise his head, and he can look at the huge eyes of the two tails Matetabi. Susanoo suddenly took a step forward, and a splash of 10 meters was splashed with 1 foot down. Susanoo held a simple weapon in his hand and stabbed it fiercely towards Matetabi's body. Matetabi immediately retreated, but was still scratched on the cheek. Visible wounds appeared on the cheek. Ha! My limelight has been taken away. At the same time, Kisame and Seimata completely merged into one. He had already transformed into a half-human, half-fish form, half of his body in the seawater, half of his body exposed. The boiling seawater did not make him feel uncomfortable. I didn't expect Shizue to have such a trump card. He never used it when we were practicing with him. But it's just right. It attracted the attention of this big guy. Kisame honestly formed a seal, his clear filled with bloodshot eyes, water style, great exploding water colliding wave. The great exploding water colliding wave used on the sea surface is several times stronger than on land. The astonishing wave that was lifted high was even higher than the two tails, Matetabi. There was Susanoo in front, and the great exploding water colliding wave behind. Matetabi found that whether it was in front or behind, she couldn't hide. The powerful wave crashed into Matetabi's body, knocking her back. She staggered, her limbs bent down under the force, and the flames that engulfed her body dulled slightly. Also at this time, Susanoo had already swung his weapon at it. Matetabi hurriedly lowered her head, but her ears were still cut off by Susanoo in one hit. Matetabi's pupils suddenly widened. Because she could feel the pain from this hit. Before Matetabi had any extra actions, Kisame had already quickly approached Matetabi's body along the flow of the great exploding water colliding wave. He disregarded the blue flames on Matetabi's body and directly landed on Matetabi's back. The flames began to burn Kisame's body, even in the water. His body was scalded with blisters, especially the feet, which were severely burned. Hiss. It really hurts. Kisame's eyes were filled with more bloodshot eyes, but he was not afraid at all, both palms pressed down, chakra absorption technique. Kisame forcibly extracted the chakra from Matetabi. In theory, without the consent of the tailed beast, no one can borrow the chakra of the tailed beast. But Kisame is different. He doesn't need to borrow when he merges with Samada. He just robs it directly. Matetabi's chakra was crazily absorbed by Kisame, allowing the burned parts of Kisame's body to gradually heal. But soon Kisame's body was burned again, but the next second it healed again. Under such repetition, it is an unprecedented torture for anyone, but Kisame actually endured it. He not only endured it, but even increased the absorption power. What's going on? Matetabi? Nayujito inside Matetabi was also conscious. She keenly sensed that Matetabi's chakra was rapidly disappearing. The person behind can absorb my chakra. Matetabi dodged Suzunu's attack and reminded. And his absorption speed is very fast, so fast that my chakra generation speed can't keep up with his absorption speed. And there's the Uchiha in front. Matetabi's tone was somewhat admiring. The Uchiha who opened the Suzunu without eyes, truly a prodigy. He reminds me of a person named Madara Uchiha. Nayujito complained. Now is not the time to praise the opponent, right? I didn't expect. The Whitebeard pirates are so fierce. She found that just the combat power shown by the Whitebeard pirates now, there are at least 2 Kage level. There is also Kakashi Hatake, an elite Jonin. The strength of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is not below Jonin. Another Uchiha female ninja is also at least a special Jonin. Nayujito immediately realized that she had overestimated herself when she wanted to hold back the Whitebeard pirates alone. But she won't think she made the wrong choice. Nayujito immediately said. Don't waste time with them, just use that move. Okay. Matetabi and Nayujito have a good relationship, and they also have a very good understanding. Without saying much, Matetabi knows what she wants. The next moment, Matetabi quickly swung its 2 tails behind it. One tail at Kisame, and when Kisame jumped to dodge, the other tail directly hit Kisame who couldn't dodge in time, sending Kisame flying on the spot. Watching Suzunu slashing its sword again, Matetabi's 2 cat paws seized the opportunity, suddenly clapped together, and actually caught the sword barehanded. Matetabi opened its mouth and spewed out a surge of flames. The flames that were spewed out pushed Suzunu back several steps. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Matetabi opened its big mouth. A terrifying aura began to brew in its mouth. A small black ball slowly appeared. This is Shishui, controlling Suzunu to stabilize his figure. The next second he felt a very ominous premonition surge up in his heart. Observation Haki sensed a death crisis. Kisame, who was knocked flying, also emerged from the sea. TSK, this power is really great. As soon as Kisame raised his head, he saw the tailed beast bomb brewing in Matetabi's mouth. His pupils suddenly shrank. This is a power similar to the 4th Mizukage? Kisame had once seen the 4th Mizukage use a tailed beast bomb. The terrifying power is still vivid to this day. Izumi Uchiha also looked up in shock, her 3 Tomoe Sharingan spinning slightly. What's going on? What is that? On the other side, Sasuke, Neji, and Hinata, who had teamed up to take down a Hidden Clouds village Chunin, also couldn't help but turn their eyes here. Hey. Matetabi is really serious, huh? Kurama exclaimed, brat, if you really don't let me out, you're definitely going to die from this attack. This is the Tailed Beast's ultimate technique, Tailed Beast Bomb. A Tailed Beast Bomb that has been charged to 100%, if it falls in Hidden Leaf Village, it is enough to level the entire Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto heard Kurama's reminder, he calmly replied, I don't think it's necessary. Huh? What do you mean? Kurama was a bit confused. Because, Pops is here. Naruto's gaze passed over Two Tails Matetabi and landed on Moby Dick, which was gradually approaching here. Naruto could clearly see that Pops was standing at the bow of Moby Dick. Moby Dick had already appeared on Matetabi's right side. At this time, the tailed beast bomb in Matetabi's mouth had been fully brewed. The terrifying aura emitted by the tailed beast bomb made everyone on the scene feel the palpitations of death. Even Whitebeard could feel the terrifying power contained within. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr land of water. The next moment, Two Tails Matatabi opened its mouth and spat out. The tailed beast bomb instantly flew out. Boom. The deck of Moby Dick's bow suddenly cracked, and Whitebeard, who was still standing here, disappeared. When Whitebeard appeared again, he actually appeared in front of Matatabi's mouth. He greeted the tailed beast bomb on his own will. Armament hockey instantly wrapped around his whole body. Whitebeard tightly gripped Murakamagiri with both hands. The smile on his face had the boldness of a sea emperor. and it didn't lack the recklessness of a pirate. Conqueror's Haki also erupted from Whitebeard. The huge blade of Murakamagiri was wrapped in Armament Haki plus Conqueror's Haki. Facing the tailed beast bomb that was close at hand, Whitebeard swung his Naginata and slashed. Under Whitebeard's monstrous strength, the blade of Murakamagiri bent exaggeratedly. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Whitebeard. The tailed beast capture plan starts off with an explosion. The tailed beast bomb that was shot out, when it was about a meter away from the blade of Murakamagiri, both sides suddenly paused. Because the conqueror's hockey wrapped around the blade had already touched the tailed beast bomb. Black arcs began to flicker in the air. The scene in front of them became extremely distorted and shaken due to the collision between the conqueror's hockey and the tailed beast bomb. Whitebeard's arm muscles were tense, veins entwined, and the large cloak on his back fluttered in the wind. Under the howling and raging shockwave, Kakashi, Kisame, and others were all hit by the oncoming shockwave and flew out. Only Shisui, who had opened Susanoo, could barely stabilize his figure with the huge size of Susanoo. The surging waves, sometimes a few meters, sometimes tens of meters, sometimes dozens of meters. Even the Moby Dick that came over was rising and falling with the huge waves, always at risk of capsizing and sinking. The clouds in the kilometer-high sky were all shattered and scattered. Even the fish in the deep sea were affected by this force. One by one, the fish exploded and shattered. The tailed beast bomb that was hit by the conqueror's hockey, like a balloon filled with water, underwent different degrees of twisting and deformation. The next second, the tailed beast ball and Murakamagiri broke through the conqueror's hockey's air barrier. The blade of Murakamagiri and the constantly deforming tailed beast ball had a zero-distance intimate contact. When the blade covered with armament hockey collided with a tailed beast bomb, actually splashed out dazzling sparks. This scene was like a baseball player hitting a baseball. The tailed beast bomb flying towards Whitebeard, actually changed direction and rushed back towards the big mouth of the two tails, Matetabi. Matetabi's eyes were wide open. It couldn't imagine what kind of human could use brute force to hit back its tailed beast bomb. The tailed beast bomb fell straight into Matetabi's mouth, and Matetabi swallowed it in a moment of surprise. Also at this moment, Matetabi's expression suddenly changed. When it was 1-5 just now, it didn't have the emotional changes it has now. The tailed beast bomb that was swallowed into the abdomen, suddenly from a pitch-black weird sphere, gradually emitted a little red light. The light of the red light became more and more intense, illuminating Matetabi's abdomen, and the light even penetrated the body of the tailed beast and illuminated the outside. Also at this moment, the tailed beast ball had a earth-shattering explosion, and the terrifying roar came from Matetabi's abdomen. Matetabi's body, like a blown-up balloon, suddenly swelled dozens of times. The huge body even squeezed the Moby Dick on one side, pushing the Moby Dick further away. Matetabi's eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and anus were all emitting dazzling light. Its round body involuntarily lay down, with its belly just facing the sky. The destructive power of the tailed beast ball, like a wrecking ball, blew Matetabi's stomach to pieces, and a 100-meter diameter destructive beam of light rose from its abdomen, shooting straight into the kilometer-high sky like a volcanic eruption. Roar, 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 roar. The screams from the tailed beast echoed through the sky, and the rolling sound waves spread in circles with the shock wave. The seawater under it was sinking, and the people like Kakashi who were originally hit and flew out were hit and flew again by a shock wave. Even Sasuke and others on the other side were also seriously affected. 3 little brats and a captured Hidden Clouds village ninja were all hit by the shock wave and floated on the water surface. They floated out tens of meters away before lying on the turbulent sea. But before they could react, the waves that came in circles knocked them over into the sea. Facing such a disaster-like scene, even the shallow aftermath of the battle is not something they can bear. Sasuke, who was hit into the water by the waves, wanted to swim out of the sea in a hurry, but the whirlpool in the sea sucked him tightly. He just can't swim out. Hinata and the Hidden Clouds village Chunin were also knocked unconscious by the waves. Just at this critical moment, a half-human, half-fish creature suddenly sprang out from the sea. Its left arm held Hinata, its left palm grabbed Neji, its right arm held Sasuke, and its right palm grabbed the Hidden Clouds village prisoner. With a one-drag-4 posture, it broke free from the undersea whirlpool current. He directly broke through the waves, and stood steadily on the rolling sea. The one who saved them was Kisame, who had merged with Samada. At this time, Kisame looked up at the mountain like two tails Matetabi. The tailed beast bomb explosion beam that rose to the sky made Kisame feel a palpitation. TSK, it really has the power to destroy a ninja village. No wonder every ninja village treats Jinchuriki as a treasure. Oh, except for Hidden Leaf Village. Kisame talked to himself here, and he thought of Naruto. Kakashi spat out the seawater that he had accidentally swallowed, and he, who was in a miserable state, looked up at the horrifying scene. Good guy, it reminds me of the Nine Tails chaos back then. Kakashi remembered that during the Nine Tails chaos, the Nine Tails also fired a tailed beast bomb. Fortunately, it didn't fall in Hidden Leaf Village, otherwise the entire Hidden Leaf Village would be destroyed. Although Shishui's eyes can't see things, he can also perceive the aura of destruction through observation haki. He could guess that Two Tails Matetabi just used a very terrifying technique. But Pop suddenly appeared and sent that technique back, causing the tailed beast to eat its own attack. Cough cough. Izumi Uchiha was hit by the shock wave, and her chakra and blood were somewhat unstable, and a trace of fresh blood overflowed from the corner of her mouth. When she looked forward, she immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Pops made a move. I thought I was going to die here just now. Naruto also watched the miserable state of Two Tails Matetabi from a distance. He couldn't help but shudder, and then muttered to Kurama in his body, "Big Fox, this shouldn't kill Two Tails and that big sister Jinchuriki, right?" The purpose of the Whitebeard pirates looking for tailed beasts is naturally to capture tailed beasts, not to kill tailed beasts. If the tailed beast accidentally dies, causing the tail number to disappear, wouldn't it be a wasted trip? Kurama fell into a deathly silence in the ceiling space. Watching the tailed beast's proudest attack being cut back by Whitebeard, this caused a very strong psychological shock to Kurama. For some reason, it thought of Senju Hashirama. That man, who originally caught its tailed beast bomb with one hand using the woodman technique, and then pressed the tailed beast bomb on its head. Whitebeard's method and Senju Hashirama's method are so similar, it made Kurama shiver. In response to Naruto's question, Kurama casually replied, "Stupid brat. Tailed beasts are not so easy to die." Listening to Matetabi's screams, Kurama was even more horrified. It actually felt a kind of phantom pain all over its body. It's really miserable. Matetabi. Kurama silently prayed for its companion. Swallowing a tailed beast bomb is not a good feeling. Kurama only has a very bad relationship with Shukaku, and its relationship with other tailed beasts, although not very good, is not that bad. Seeing this scene, Kurama still felt quite empathetic. At this moment, Whitebeard's body was also falling. But when Whitebeard was about to fall into the sea, his feet suddenly stepped on the air, and he jumped up tens of meters hard. This is one of the Marine 6 styles, moonwalk. Having been in the sea and fighting with the Navy for so many years, Whitebeard had seen the Marine 6 styles technique countless times. For someone as powerful as him, seeing such a technique once was enough to learn it. Even Whitebeard had to admit that a few of the moves in the Marine 6 styles were quite useful. Especially the moonwalk. By stepping on the air dozens or even hundreds of times in an instant, one can walk in the air for a short time. Very practical. Whitebeard was pondering whether to teach his children the Navy's set of techniques. If they could master the Marine 6 styles, not to say how skilled they are, at least if they are relatively proficient in one style, at least they would be a special Jonin level in the ninja world, right? Under Whitebeard's gaze, the Two Tails, Matetabi, whose body had swollen to dozens of times its size due to the explosion of the tailed beast ball in its stomach, began to deflate and shrink again. From a staggering height of several hundred meters, it dropped to over 200 meters, over 100 meters, several tens of meters. Whitebeard watched as Matetabi's body shrank back to its original size. He could even see a huge hole appearing in her abdomen. The Two Tails, Matetabi, was already panting and lying helplessly on the sea surface. Matetabi, with a large hole in her abdomen, was unable to stand up again. Her panting breath seemed somewhat low and weak. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Matetabi's body was still shrinking. From several tens of meters high, it became 10 or so meters, and even a few meters high, until finally, it became about the same size as a normal person. The blue flames burning on her body also gradually converged, her limbs turned back into Nayujido's limbs, and her face also turned back into Nayujido's face. After about 10 seconds had passed, a heavily injured Nayujido lay on the sea surface. The whole person had already fallen into a faint, and her body kept sinking. Just as her head was about to be submerged by the seawater, a big hand suddenly scooped her up. The person who scooped her up was none other than Whitebeard. Nayujido, lying in Whitebeard's hand, was already in a state of more exhalation than inhalation. You could see that her abdominal chest cavity had also been blown open by a large hole, and the explosion of the tailed beast bomb had also affected her, the Jinchuriki. You could clearly see the damaged organs inside, and even a heart that was constantly beating. Blood also flowed out from the abdominal chest cavity, staining Whitebeard's palm red. Whitebeard stepped on the moonwalk and walked in the air, returning to the Moby Dick, and put the dying Nayujido on the deck. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr A little kid with not much strength, relying on the power of the tailed beast, can actually use such an astonishingly powerful attack. The existence of a tailed beast is even more outrageous than many devil fruits. Whitebeard knew that there were many devil fruits in the sea, and as long as they were developed properly, they could have terrifying destruction comparable to natural disasters. But that also requires constant development, and if a person's physique can't keep up, the development of the fruit's ability can't keep up either. But the tailed beast is different. As long as you have a good relationship with a tailed beast, even the weakest person can exert the terrifying power of the tailed beast. This seemed a bit too outrageous in Whitebeard's eyes. And after seeing Niyojito lying on the deck, Uzumaki Faashi immediately came forward to check the situation. Looking at her injuries, Faashi analyzed. There are at least more than 30 fractures all over her body, her intestines have almost been blown up, and organs like the liver and stomach have different degrees of damage. The silver lining in the misfortune is that her heart seems to be intact. Perhaps the tailed beast inside her deliberately protected the Jinchuriki's heart. Having said that, Uzumaki Faashi took out a kunai and cut her own palm, then gently pried open Niyojito's red lips with one hand. The fresh blood of the Uzumaki clan dripped into Niyojito's mouth. Then it dripped into her nearly hollow abdomen. After doing all this, Uzumaki Faashi applied a simple hemastasis ninjutsu to her cut palm. The blood of the Uzumaki clan indeed has the miraculous effect of flesh and bone. Especially Uzumaki Faashi, who is a very pure Uzumaki descendant. As long as the injured person still has a breath, she can pull the person back from the gate of ghosts. You can see that the blood constantly flowing out of Niyojito's abdominal wound has visibly stopped. Her body is rapidly absorbing the precious blood from the Uzumaki clan, as if absorbing a great tonic. The broken parts of the body are slowly regenerating, and the intestines in the abdomen that are in tatters are also gradually regenerating. That pale face is even beginning to become slightly rosy. Uzumaki Faashi, in a princess carry posture, picked up Niyojito and then took her into the cabin of Moby Dick. Because she still has to take this Jinchuriki to Tsunade for treatment. After all, she has never treated such a serious injury. She doesn't know if her blood is useful. In the medical operating room on Moby Dick, Tsunade saw Uzumaki Faashi running in, holding a bloody woman in her arms. Tsunade's pupils shrank slightly. She wanted to ask Uzumaki Faashi what happened outside. But when she saw Niyojito, who was half soaked in blood, the words she wanted to ask were stuck in her throat. Tsunade's breathing became rapid, and her palms began to sweat. She took a few deep breaths, held back her trembling body, and moved her gaze from Niyojito's body to Uzumaki Faashi. Who is this girl? She shouldn't be one of Whitebeard's daughters, right? She looks quite unfamiliar. Tsunade asked this question in a slightly trembling voice. She wanted to use this kind of conversation to relieve her psychological pressure. This is the Two Tails Jinchuriki from Hidden Clouds Village. Uzumaki Faashi explained, this person was injured by pops like this, can you see if she can be saved? If she can't be saved, then they can only forcibly extract the tailed beast from her body. As for why save her? The reason is very simple. The Whitebeard pirates have never caught tailed beasts at the expense of human lives, otherwise they wouldn't have discussed how to let Jinchuriki survive. Two Tails Jinchuriki? Tsunade's expression on her face suddenly became a bit strange. She also knew that the Whitebeard pirates wanted to catch the several tailed beasts in the ninja world. Unexpectedly, the Whitebeard pirates met a Jinchuriki so quickly and injured her like this. That is to say, the huge movement outside just now should be Whitebeard fighting with Jinchuriki? This guy is really unlucky, isn't he? Put her on the bed next to her. Tsunade commanded. Shizune? Where is Shizune? I'm here. I'm here. Shizune also hurriedly ran back into the cabin. She had been called up by Tsunade to call Naruto down before, but if Naruto hadn't been called down, she would have met Niyojito face to face. Give this Jinchuriki some treatment, don't completely heal her, just leave her with a breath of life, let her wake up. Tsunade handed this task to Shizune. She could tell at a glance that the Niyojito people must have drunk the blood of the Uzumaki clan, otherwise, she would be died. In this situation, there is no need for Tsunade to take action, she can let her disciple Shizune perform the surgery. Okay. Shizune quickly handed Taunton, who was being held in her arms, to Faashi. Please help me take care of Taunton, it was just scared unconscious. Then, she looked at Tsunade with some confusion, but, Tsunade-sama. Why only leave her with a breath of life? Tsunade gave her a wide look. Fool, that's a Jinchuriki. If you completely heal her, what if she suddenly goes berserk? Are you going to subdue her? Shizune suddenly realized. That's right, Faashi, you stay here too. Tsunade said to Uzumaki Faashi, I heard that the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan is a natural nemesis to the tailed beasts. Once this guy's tailed beast inside has any movement, you quickly seal this guy up. Okay. Uzumaki Fushi, who was holding Taunton, immediately nodded. And she also wanted to learn medical ninjutsu from Tsunade Hime. TSK. Then, Tsunade looked at Kimimaro lying on another bed. See? Jinchuriki is not an opponent of that Whitebeard. What do you think your Orochimaru-sama will do when he meets that old man? Kimimaro fell silent. He turned his head to look at the unconscious Nayujito. His subconscious told him that this severely injured female ninja was very strong. If she was awake and not injured, she might be able to subdue him, Kimimaro, with just one hand. Tsunade continued to speak. The Whitebeard pirates will even treat their opponents after defeating them. Do you think your Orochimaru-sama, that nasty guy, would do that? Who is the good person? It goes without saying. Tsunade said so much, not because she wanted to do something for the Whitebeard pirates. She simply didn't want to see such an excellent child being ruined by Orochimaru. Meanwhile, on the deck outside the cabin, Kisame, Naruto, Kakashi, Izumi, Shisui, Sasuke, Neji, Hinata, and the captured Hidden Clouds village Chunin prisoner all returned to the deck of the Moby Dick. Hee. Naruto's nine-tails chakra had already dissipated, and he showed a sunny smile on his little face. Our tailed beast capture plan have a good start. Then, Naruto said to Kurama in his heart, Big Fox, isn't my pups very powerful? Kurama. Listening to Naruto's obviously boastful tone, Kurama didn't want to join in the conversation. And right now, Naruto was standing next to Whitebeard, which made Kurama dare not speak loudly in the ceiling space. Because it was scared by that attack. Chapter 246, Tailed Beast Transfer. New Jinchuriki. The two tails now belongs to the Whitebeard pirates. Cough. Nayujito people couldn't help but cough a few times, feeling a faint pain in their internal organs, as if they were deeply pierced by silver needles. But at this moment, she realized something was wrong. Why was her body in so much pain? Nayujito immediately woke up from a state of drowsiness, followed by the voice of Two Tails Matetabi. Are you awake? Matetabi's voice no longer sounded weak. After all, the recovery power of the tailed beasts is outrageous. What happened to me? Where am I? What happened? Before Matetabi could answer her question, Nayujito people suddenly remembered what they were doing before. They were fighting against the entire Whitebeard pirates with their own strength. Under the siege of a group of pirates, they used the tailed beast bomb together with Matetabi. Nayujito vaguely remembered that at the moment the tailed beast bomb was spit out, a figure appeared in front of them, and then cut the tailed beast bomb back with a single slash. The scene at that time reappeared in her mind. Under the strong emotional fluctuations, her eyes suddenly opened. What caught her eye was a wooden ceiling. The air was filled with the smell of disinfectant. Yujito, I regret to tell you that both you and I have been captured. Matetabi's voice echoed in Yujito's mind. Matetabi continued. They saved you, but then locked you up here. Before you woke up, a descendant of the Uzumaki clan used the Uzumaki clan sealing technique to temporarily seal me. Matetabi's words fell into Yujito's ears. It can be described as shocking. Uzumaki clan? Seal? Nayujito quickly plunged her body and mind into the tailed beast's sealing space, only to find that there were many strange and weird curses in the sealing space that she didn't recognize. Those curses filled the entire sealing space, forming chains, connected to Two Tails Matetabi. Matetabi was lying in the huge sealing space like a big cat. Its limbs and tails were all fixed by long nails covered with curses. Yujito hurriedly wanted to remove the sealing technique that trapped Two Tails Matetabi. She tried to erase the strange curses carved in the sealing space. But when her palm touched those curses, her soul felt as if it had been burned, and she quickly withdrew her hand. She thought again about pulling out the long nails that trapped Matetabi's limbs and tail. But she found that the power of her soul consciousness could not pull up the long nails at all. Yujito, it's useless, this is the Uzumaki clan sealing technique. Matetabi's voice echoed faintly. To break this sealing technique, either another Uzumaki clan breaks it, or wait a few months for the power of the sealing technique to disappear. So, Yujito's eyes widened a bit. Within a few months, I can't use your power? Yes. Matetabi wanted to nod, but its posture was that its face, limbs, and tail were all lying on the ground in the sealing space. It was very difficult for it to nod. Yujito fell into silence. She realized that she had become a puppet of the pirates, and realized that she had overestimated herself before. The key is, that man could actually send back the tailed beast bomb. That scene lingered in her heart. It kept reappearing in her mind. This is a pill I've developed over the past few days. Just then, a sudden voice sounded outside the sealing space. You need to take it 3 times a day, every 8 hours apart. After you finish eating, come find me for more. This was a somewhat unfamiliar woman's voice. Yujito's soul consciousness immediately left the tailed beast's ceiling space. She struggled to turn her head and moved her gaze towards the direction of the sound. What came into view was a woman with a large breast. Yujito considered herself to be the kind of girl who was hidden and not shown. But when she saw this woman, she realized that her own breast was still too small. Wait. Why does the other party look so familiar? Yujito's gaze gradually focused on Tsunoda's profile, and Tsunoda also turned her head to look at Yujito with a sense of feeling. Their gazes collided in midair. And at this moment, Yujito finally recognized who the other party was, and the shock in her heart made her exclaim, "Hidden Leaf Village's Sanin, Tsunoda?" Oh? Tsunoda looked at Yujito, who was wrapped in bandages, with interest. "You woke up quite quickly. A normal person with that kind of injury would have been dead long ago. But you can still live, and you only fainted for 2 days, and then you woke up." After saying that, Tsunoda couldn't help but sigh, as expected of the blood of the Uzumaki clan. That kind of incredible vitality, and the bloodline of the Senju clan, there is a big difference. The bloodline of the Senju clan also has a vast chakra plus great strength plus amazing recovery. In this respect, the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan are somewhat similar. Of course, even if others drink the blood of the Senju clan, they can't heal their injuries at a speed visible to the naked eye. On the contrary, if you drink the blood of the Uzumaki clan, you will have such a strange effect. This made Tsunoda very interested. How could someone like you be here? Yujito people sat up from the bed in emotional excitement. She still wanted to stand up quickly, but found that she didn't have the strength. She couldn't help but question Tsunoda, "Where is this? Where am I?" TSK, your series of questions making my head hurt." Tsunoda casually answered, "This is the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard pirates. You are on a pirate ship, and you have become their prisoner. Do you understand your predicament now? Your status in the Whitebeard pirates is just like this little brat." Tsunoda unceremoniously held Kinemaru's head with one hand. With a speechless expression on Kinemaru's face, Tsunoda messed up his long hair. Suddenly, a series of footsteps came from outside. The door of the cabin was pushed open. "Ha! My observation hockey has indeed improved. I said I felt something vaguely, and when I came over to look, sure enough, she woke up." The person who broke in was a blonde Naruto. As a result, what greeted Naruto was a violent punch from Tsunoda. Naruto quickly covered his head. "Ouch! It hurts. Naruto, you little brat, how many times have I told you, you have to knock on the door before you come in? What if I'm in surgery and you suddenly break in and make me make a mistake, and accidentally killed Kinemaru?" Tsunoda rolled her eyes and said to Naruto, "Whether it's a doctor's operating room or a patient's rest room, you can't just barge in without my permission." "Ah. I'm sorry. I was wrong." Naruto quickly apologized to Tsunoda. Then, Naruto excitedly turned his gaze to the Umagi people, and a bright sunny smile appeared on his face. "Jinchuriki, big sister, you are very powerful. You can actually made Pops to take action to take you down." Yujito. She was a bit unclear whether this Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was here to mock her, a Two-Tails Jinchuriki? Or was he genuinely praising her? Yujito took a deep breath and said to Naruto, "You've captured me, but you haven't killed me. What exactly do you want to do? Haven't we already said that the Whitebeard pirates want to capture all the tailed beasts in the entire ninja world?" Naruto sat casually on the edge of the bed and laughed. "You are the first one, the lucky one who was captured by our Whitebeard pirates." "Lucky one? More like an unlucky one." Yujito knew she was very unlucky this time, falling directly into the hands of the Whitebeard pirates. She thought it was just a very large merchant ship. Who would have thought it was a pirate ship? Which pirate has so much money to build such a big ship? With so much money, they could even establish a ninja village in the ninja world, right? But the Whitebeard pirates just don't play by the rules. "How are my two subordinates?" Yujito asked Naruto. They're alive." Naruto answered. "They are being held in the prison at the bottom of the cabin. The two Chunin could cost Hidden Cloud's village no less than 6 million to save them back. Now that you're awake, we can have big sister Faashi come over." Naruto's smile was a bit malicious. His smile also made Yujito's expression change slightly. "Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, what do you guys want to do?" Yujito tried to calm herself down. She knew that panic was useless. Connecting what Naruto had just said, could it be that the Whitebeard pirates wanted to extract the tailed beast from her body? Yujito was a bit unable to calm down. Because she knew very well that if the pirates wanted to do this, she would definitely die. Because she had heard, if the tailed beast is forcibly extracted from a Jinchuriki's body, the Jinchuriki will also die quickly as the tailed beast leaves. But now she has no power to resist at all. Matatabi can't lend her chakra. Yujito's heart suddenly became gloomy. Could it be that she just woke up not long ago, And she's going to die on this pirate ship. Could it be that her youth is going to be buried in the hands of pirates? And it didn't take long. Yujito saw a red-haired woman, whose age should be only a few years older than her. Then, she also saw Hoshigaki Kisame, Kakashi Hatake, Shizue Uchiha. These three well-known figures. You really embarrassed us the other day. Kisame hugged his arms and grinned. What do you think will happen to a woman who is caught by pirates? Yujito's beautiful eyes opened wide, and she tightly gripped the bedsheet. If the other party wanted to do something improper, she would not hesitate to knock her head against the wall and choose to kill herself. But soon she thought again, would the pirates, who are extremely evil, even spare the corpse? Once this thought came up in her mind, it couldn't be stopped. Don't talk as if we're like heinous villains. Kakashi complained helplessly. Although pirates are indeed not good people, we are not that bad. I'm just scaring her. Kisame laughed maliciously. This woman always has a proud look on her face, which is really annoying to see. Uzumaki Fuashi spoke up. Kisame-san, Kakashi-san, please help me move the Jinchuriki to the room prepared in advance. Kisame and Kakashi nodded in succession. One of them grabbed Yujito's hands, and the other grabbed her feet, carrying her forward like a roasted suckling pig. Yujito had no strength to struggle. Her heart was filled with gloom. Before long, she found herself being taken to a very special room, where the floor was painted with many inscriptions in blood that were incomprehensible to her. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she felt that the inscriptions painted on the ground were very similar to the unfamiliar inscriptions in the ceiling space. The inscriptions on the ground formed a circle, and Yujito was just placed inside the circle. Candles were also lit all around. They didn't seem to be ordinary candles. This is also my first attempt to separate the tailed beast from the Jinchuriki. This is a sealing ninjutsu passed down by the Uzumaki clan. I've only practiced it 5 or 6 times. Uzumaki Fuashi's voice fell into Yujito's ears. Undoubtedly, it was the death sentence for her. Soon, something else was brought in. It was a large bathtub, and what was in the bathtub was not ordinary water, but a slightly reddish liquid. If you smell it carefully, you can also smell a faint bloody smell inside. Kisame and Kakashi lifted Yujito up and put her whole body in the wooden tub, letting her body soak in that strange liquid. Yujito originally thought this was some kind of highly corrosive liquid. But after her body was soaked in it, she didn't feel any discomfort. Instead, it gave her a strange sense of comfort. Then, she saw a little girl with long red hair walk in. Yujito's face darkened slightly, and she let out a scoff and said, "This wouldn't be the Jinchuriki candidate you guys have prepared, would it? You guys want to extract the 2 tails off me and seal it in such a little kid?" Yes, after 2 days of unanimous discussion by the Whitebeard pirates, it was decided to let Karen try to see if she could become the second Jinchuriki of the pirate group. Because Karen has the pure bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. And she also knows the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan. She is natural enemy for tailed beasts. Letting a nemesis of a tailed beast become a Jinchuriki of a tailed beast, there really isn't a more suitable candidate. Yes. Fuashi said, "I'm sorry, the process might be a little painful, but it shouldn't last too long." Under Uzumaki Fuashi's detailed command, she, Naruto, Kakashi, Kisame, Shizue, 5 people stood in different positions, and surrounded Yujito and Uzumaki Karen. The 5 of them simultaneously made the same seal. Uzumaki Fuashi slowly took a deep breath, the massive chakra from the Uzumaki clan surged in her body, and she softly shouted. Uzumaki secret technique. All she saw was her body suddenly shooting out golden chains. Each golden chain was connected to Naruto, Kakashi, Kisame, and Shizue. All 5 of them were thus connected. The 5 of them changed their seal movements at the same time. Obviously they had rehearsed before Yujito woke up. The different chakras from the 5 people were surging violently, all flowing to Uzumaki Fuashi along the golden chains. Uzumaki Fuashi's clothes were all dancing violently. A gust of wind was stirred up in the cabin room, blowing the wooden planks at the edge of the cabin, all making a creaking sound. Sealing technique, adamantine reversal 5 elements seal. In an instant, 2 golden chains drilled out of the chests of 5 people, adding up to a total of 10 golden chains, which were inserted into Yujito and Karen's bodies respectively. Haha. Uzumaki Fuashi's palms heavily slapped on the sealing technique inscription that had been drawn on the ground early, and the movements of Naruto and others were the same as Uzumaki Fuashi, all slapping the ground heavily with their palms. It was also at this moment that Yujito felt an indescribable tearing pain coming from the depths of her soul. Her hands instantly grabbed the edge of the bathtub. The pain was several times worse than childbirth. She fainted on the spot from the pain. Rolling blue flames drilled out from Yujito's body, first transmitted to the bodies of Uzumaki Fuashi and others through the golden chains. After turning a circle on the bodies of the 5 people, it was transmitted to Karen's body. The intense swelling pain coming from the body and soul made Karen couldn't help but groan. But compared to Yujito, who had fainted, Karen actually gritted her teeth and held on. The chakra from the tailed beast kept pouring into her body, and the inscriptions drawn on the ground seemed to have life, all climbing towards Karen's body. In less than a few breaths of time, Karen's body was already covered with blood-colored inscriptions, and all parts of her skin were filled with inscriptions. The sealing inscriptions slowly moved on the surface of her skin, and all went towards one direction, that is, Karen's abdomen. Uzumaki Fuashi, who was already sweating profusely, immediately took a few steps forward, her fingers slightly curved, and slapped Karen's lower abdomen. Uzumaki secret technique, 4 symbols, adamantine sealing chains. Uzumaki Fuashi used the Uzumaki clan sealing technique to create a sealing space in Karen's body, but her strength was ultimately limited. Uzumaki Fuashi immediately said to her daughter, "Karen, it's up to you." "Okay." Karen, who was enduring the swelling pain in her body, nodded heavily. Karen also slapped her hands and quickly made a seal. Her childish voice gritted her teeth and said, "Uzumaki secret technique, tailed beast seal." The dense inscriptions floating in Karen's abdomen began to slowly rotate. Karen changed her seal gesture and gritted her teeth again, sealing technique, adamantine sealing chains. Boom. A shockwave erupted from Karen's body, pushing Uzumaki Fuashi back a few steps. A complete sealing technique appeared on Karen's abdomen, and the not-so-complete sealing space in her body gradually became more complete and extremely solid. To transfer the tailed beast to another person without any pain, it's really a powerful sealing technique, as expected of the Uzumaki clan. Matatabi's voice no longer echoed in Yujito's mind. But it echoed in Karen's mind. The tailed beast has changed ownership. Chapter 247, Whitebeard, the matter of Teach will never happen in the new Whitebeard pirate crew. Although Uzumaki Fuashi was already very tired, she had to quickly take out a few test tubes from her bosom, which were filled with crimson liquid. This was all blood drawn from her body early this morning. Uzumaki Fuashi pried open Yujito's mouth. It was clear to see that Yujito's lips had turned severely pale, and her life force was rapidly fading at a speed visible to the naked eye. The blood from the Uzumaki clan flowed into her mouth, down her throat into her abdomen, and was quickly absorbed and digested by her body's instinct. Yujito, whose lips were severely pale, visibly regained a bit of color, but not much. Although the blood of the Uzumaki clan does have a strong healing power, the life force of Yujito, who had been stripped of the tailed beast inside her, was fading too fast. So fast that this amount of blood was simply not enough. "Kakashi-san, please ask Shizune to bring a set of blood transfusion equipment quickly." Seeing that Yujito's condition was a bit off, she immediately turned to Kakashi and said, "I want to transfer the blood from my body to hers." Kakashi immediately did as he was told, and soon Shizune rushed over in a hurry. A simple set of medical blood transfusion equipment was first connected to Uzumaki Fuashi. Then it was connected to the unconscious Yujito. As time passed second by second, about half a minute later, Yujito's pale expression finally showed a bit of rosiness. A life that was originally like a candle in the wind, ready to be extinguished at any moment, was suddenly reignited. The blood of the Uzumaki clan is just that miraculous. Moreover, there is no need to check what blood type the other person is. That's enough. Uzumaki Fuashi's face also turned a bit pale. After all, she had just consumed so much chakra, and now she was losing a bit too much blood in a short time. After removing the blood transfusion equipment, she used a simple hemostasis ninjutsu for the wound on her body that was pricked by the blood transfusion needle. Then, Uzumaki Fuashi said to Shizune, "Shizune-san, could you please help check her condition?" "All right." Shizune nodded. She carefully checked the physical condition of Yujito, who was lying in the wooden bathtub. She frowned and gave Yujito a few more medical ninjutsu. Then Shizune checked again. Shizune withdrew her hand and said to everyone, "Her life force is enough to sustain her life, but she is very weak now and needs some time to recover. When she wakes up, you can give her some simple liquid food, and then start eating some nutritious things. She should be able to recover in about a week." With the operation of the Whitebeard pirate crew, Yujito's life was saved. And there was nothing serious. The pain of being stripped of the tailed beast didn't last long. Just a few seconds after that, she passed out. This might also be considered a blessing in disguise. Otherwise, if one had to endure such pain for several minutes, it would be unbearable for anyone. In the end, everyone's eyes focused on Karen. The reason for choosing Karen is that the Whitebeard pirate crew doesn't know much about Jinchuriki, and they are not very skilled at transferring tailed beasts. For safety reasons, for the time being, There doesn't seem to be anyone more suitable than Karen to be the temporary container for the two tails. If it were to be Sasuke, or Izumi Uchiha, or Shizui, that would be a bit risky. By then, maybe not only the tailed beast couldn't be transferred, but it might also cost 2 lives. In the future, if it is found that the two tails and Karen are not very compatible, then the tailed beast can be transferred to someone else. After all, with the experience of one successful operation, the Whitebeard pirates also had enough confidence when conducting the second operation. Unconsciously, the existence of the tailed beasts placed here in the Whitebeard pirates has become as plug-and-play as the Sharingan. Indeed, the essence of the ninja world is still plug-and-play. Karen, how are you feeling? Uzumaki Fushi asked his daughter with a concerned tone. Do you feel any discomfort in your body? It seems to be gone. Karen shook her head slightly. Apart from some pain during the transfer process, she felt nothing strange after the transfer was completed. It seems to be a success. Kisame revealed a smile, but this smile, combined with his face and his mouth full of sharp teeth, didn't look very good. From today onwards, the Whitebeard pirates will have 2 tailed beasts. One is the 9 tails, and the other is the 2 tails. Indeed, they are 2 tailed beasts. Karen, can you communicate with the tailed beast inside you? Naruto came over curiously and asked. Let me try. Karen tried to immerse her consciousness and soul in a seal space that had just been constructed. The next second, she found that the image in front of her had changed drastically. Her mother, Naruto, and Kakashi all disappeared with this change. Karen found herself in a very spacious enclosed space. She looked around and found a very large cage not far in front of her. Inside the cage was a giant beast lying down. The beast was about 10 to 20 meters high, with dark blue flames wrapped around its body. It was also at this moment that the eyes of the 2 tails, Matetabi, cast their gaze over, and the eyes of the Jinchuriki and the tailed beast collided in midair. Matetabi's big eyes looked at the little girl of the Uzumaki clan in front of him, and it couldn't help but sigh. The way you guys work is somewhat different from that of the ninjas. Karen didn't quite understand what this tailed beast was saying. Matetabi seemed to see her confusion and explained. If a ninja village captures a Jinchuriki from an outside village, they will strip the tailed beast from the Jinchuriki's body and then they won't care about the life or death of the Jinchuriki. But you are different from those ninjas in this respect, you actually care about the life and death of an enemy. Your style is vastly different from those ninjas. Karen suddenly understood. She adjusted the red-framed glasses on her face and revealed a smile. Because we are not ninjas, we are pirates, we are the Whitebeard pirates. Capturing tailed beasts is only for the purpose of enhancing our own strength, not a means to kill others. Then, Karen curiously looked at the 2 tails, Matetabi, in front of her. By the way, we forcibly stripped you from that hidden clouds village Jinchuriki, aren't you angry? There's nothing to be angry about, I've lived so long, I've seen too many things. Matetabi's tailed beast thinking is different from humans. Karen muttered. I feel that your character is completely different from the big fox inside Naruto. Naruto said that the big fox inside him has a very bad character, likes to swear, and is very uncultured. But I feel that you are very polite, you will not refuse to communicate with the Jinchuriki, and even the sound of your voice is quite gentle. Karen was amazed. Because the characters of different tailed beasts are different. Matetabi responded. Kurama is not as violent and bad as you imagine, as long as you praise it more, compliment it. Don't look at it with a stinky face on the surface, but praise it from your heart. No one knows a tailed beast better than another tailed beast. Over the years, each of the tailed beasts has come to understand each other's personalities quite well. Descendant of the Uzumaki clan, your chakra attribute and my abilities are not very compatible, you may need to switch to another Jinchuriki. Matetabi's personality is indeed so good that it doesn't seem like a tailed beast. It even took the initiative to remind Karen, if you want to become a Jinchuriki, it's best to capture the 3 tails. Your chakra is of water and earth attributes, it is the tailed beast that is most compatible with you. Of course, if you want to focus on the Uzumaki clan sealing techniques in the future, you might also want to capture the 1 tail. The well-intentioned reminder from Matetabi left Karen stunned. For some reason, she heard a hint of cunning and slyness in Matetabi's relatively friendly tone. Could it be that Matetabi felt a bit uncomfortable about being captured, and then encouraged the Whitebeard pirate crew to capture all the remaining tailed beasts, so that all tailed beasts would be treated equally? Could it be that, as a tailed beast, you don't find it annoying to switch Jinchuriki back and forth? Karen asked curiously. Matetabi responded, if it's that kind of rough transfer method. It does make the tailed beasts quite angry. Because this not only causes the Jinchuriki to die, but also makes the tailed beasts feel very painful. Karen probably understood. The way other ninja villages strip or transfer tailed beasts not only tortures the Jinchuriki, but also tortures the tailed beasts. So the tailed beasts would be very irritable, and even develop hatred towards humans, eventually leading to disasters. But the Uzumaki clan, which is very good at this aspect, has a way to painlessly strip and transfer the tailed beasts. For the tailed beasts, it's as if nothing happened, and suddenly the person helping them changes. Oh, strictly speaking, it's not that nothing happened. Because Matatabi was beaten up by Whitebeard a few days ago. The tailed beast bomb exploded inside its body, almost killing Matatabi. Karen's soul consciousness quickly detached from the ceiling space. Then, the figure of her mother reappeared in front of her. Facing the concerned expressions in front of her, Karen nodded slightly and said, "I can communicate with the tailed beast, and it told me some things." Karen told everyone what she and Matatabi had talked about. Hearing this, Naruto couldn't help but stroke his chin. In his heart, Naruto said to Kurama, "So all I need to do is compliment you, the big fox, and you'll be very happy?" Stupid brat. That's just that big cat talking nonsense. For some reason, Kurama's tone seemed a bit defensive. It was as if something had been pointed out by a single word. Is Karen not very compatible with the two tails? Shishui analyzed calmly. The ability of the two tails, besides the very powerful tailed beast bomb, should be fire, right? The ones in the Whitebeard pirate crew who are best at fire style are probably only the Uchiha clan. But Karen has just accepted the tailed beast transfer technique. If it happens again, she definitely needs to let Karen rest for a while first. Just then, a commotion came from the deck outside the cabin, causing everyone in the cabin to look at each other. It should be those sailors, they seem to be saying something. Kakashi listened carefully. If I'm not mistaken, Moby Dick should have arrived at the Land of Thunder. People need to stop and rest when they walk, but ships don't. After a long journey of more than half a month, Moby Dick finally sailed from the coast of the Land of Fire to the coast of the Land of Thunder. Uzumaki Faashi and Shizune stayed behind to take care of the unconscious Nayujito. The rest of the people came to the deck. When they all stood on the deck and looked forward, sure enough, what appeared in front of them was a towering mountain range. Is this the Land of Thunder? What a strange country. Naruto ran to the bow of Moby Dick. He looked into the distance and muttered. Why is there only such a small area by the sea, and then there are mountains? In Naruto's line of sight, there was only a small beach in front. On the beach, there was a port that was not very large, but the scale was okay. You could vaguely see some ships docked at the port. There were also some scattered buildings. Apart from that, there was no more flat land. Behind the beach and the port, there were towering mountains. The shortest mountain was probably over 100 meters high, and the tallest might be over 1,000 meters. When you looked up at the mountain, you couldn't even see what the top of the mountain looked like because the top of the mountain was covered by thick clouds. I heard that most people in the Land of Thunder live on the top of the mountain, so you can't see many buildings because their buildings are basically built on the top of each mountain. Kakashi also came over and explained on the side. Living on the top of the mountain? Naruto was amazed. Isn't that too inconvenient? Suddenly, a dull footstep sounded from behind everyone. Looking back, they found that it was Whitebeard who came over. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr find the others. Did you get that big cat? Naruto nodded and replied. Pops, the two tails has been stripped from the Hidden Clouds village ninja and temporarily sealed in Karen's body. But Karen said she and this two tails are not very compatible. We might have to transfer the two tails to another person later, and Karen also strongly agrees with this. Hearing this, Whitebeard showed a smile. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr this, Whitebeard thought of Blackbeard. If the tailed beasts are compared to devil fruits, what is happening on the Whitebeard pirates at this moment does make Whitebeard feel somewhat familiar. But the process and the result are completely different from before. In the final analysis, ambitious people like Blackbeard Teach who stop at nothing do not exist in the new Whitebeard pirates. This is also because Whitebeard has always deliberately avoided accepting sons like Teach. He doesn't want the things that happened before to happen again. The Emperor of the Sea must not repeat the same mistakes. Meanwhile, Land of Thunder. At the port. A blonde female ninja stood in front of a shop at the port. Her cold face had no extra expression. Her skin as white as snow was quite rare even in the Land of Thunder. Although the Land of Thunder is not lacking in people with very white skin, people with skin as white as hers are indeed not many. Her hairstyle was straight shoulder-length haircut at an angle, and her blue-green eyes were like two crystal-clear gems. She exuded a sense of coldness, like an iceberg standing here. This kind of feeling of rejecting people thousands of miles away made her, even though she was very beautiful, Not many people dared to strike up a conversation with her. Samyu held an ice stick in her hand, and looked up at the shopkeeper without expression. Although she didn't say a word, the shopkeeper still understood what she meant. The shopkeeper swallowed secretly, trying hard to move her gaze away from some abyssal ravine. 10.10 Rio. Samyu paid the money, extended her tender tongue, and gently licked the popsicle in her hand. Even this action of licking the popsicle seemed rather cold, and her face didn't show much enjoyment of the food. When she turned to leave, one could still see a short ninja sword strapped to her back. Both the scabbard and the handle were red. The reason Samyu was here was because of the 4th Raikage's order for her to meet the returning Jinchuriki here. Wow! Such a big ship. Look over there. There's a huge ship coming. Hiss. How long is this ship? It must be several hundred meters long, right? If it stands up, wouldn't it be as high as a mountain? What kind of ship is this? A merchant ship. Where did it come from? Is there a flag hanging on the ship? What's the symbol on it? I can't see it clearly. Just as Samyu had just put the popsicle in her mouth, she noticed a commotion coming from the port. Samyu turned her head to look in that direction, her eyebrows slowly furrowing. Because she also saw a large ship heading this way. If she remembered correctly, with the shipbuilding technology of the Land of Thunder, they couldn't build such a large ship. Is it a merchant ship from another country? This isn't a particularly important port, why would a large merchant ship of this level come here? Samyu sensed that something was wrong, casually threw away the popsicle in her hand, and lightly stepped on it to crush it. She reached into her bosom and pulled out a very small monocular telescope. The handle of the telescope was still somewhat warm. The lens of the telescope moved onto the mast of Moby Dick. And it kept moving up along the mast until it landed on a flag fluttering in the wind at the top. It was a flag with a black background and white drawing. What is this? Samyu felt that the pattern on the flag looked familiar, as if she had seen it somewhere before. Skull. Crescent beard. Crossbones. Samyu's pupils suddenly contracted in her beautiful eyes. She remembered why it looked familiar. Because the Whitebeard pirate crew had already become famous in the ninja world, some information about the Whitebeard pirate crew had also spread throughout the ninja world. The iconic pirate flag of the Whitebeard pirate crew. It was also remembered by many people in the ninja world. Whitebeard pirate crew? Chapter 248, Build a dozen Moby Dicks, meet with the old Whitebeard pirate crew. From the contraction of Samyu's pupils, one could see the shock in her heart, but her cold and indifferent personality did not allow her to express her emotions clearly. Samyu's eyebrows were slowly furrowed, and a vigilant look flashed in the depths of her eyes. Why would the Whitebeard pirate crew appear in the Land of Thunder? Is this big ship their pirate ship? Why is there no information about this ship in the village? Under Samyu's gaze, she watched as Moby Dick docked at the port pier. When Moby Dick approached here, all the people on the port could truly feel how huge this ship was. Nearby buildings were not even half as high as Moby Dick. Compared to Moby Dick, the other merchant ships in the port were like mice compared to an elephant. Such a large ship sailing here caused waves that forced other merchant ships to bob up and down on the sea. It even made the sailors on those merchant ships scream in surprise. It's hard to imagine, if a merchant ship were to appear in front of Moby Dick, would the merchant ship be crushed on the spot? Samyu immediately hid behind a building. She peeked out half of her face, watching the Whitebeard pirate crew's big ship with cautious vigilance. Then, she immediately bit her thumb and slapped the ground with her palm. Ninjutsu, summoning technique. An owl, about half a person tall and completely white, appeared in front of her. Compared to an owl, this summoned beast's size is absolutely a giant among owls. Yawn. Why did you summon me? The white owl yawned sleepily, then spoke in a curious human-like voice, which sounded a bit like a human woman. Could you help me deliver a message back to the village? Please tell Raikage-sama, I haven't seen Jinchuriki no Yojito yet, nor her two subordinates. However, I have found the Whitebeard pirates in the Land of Thunder. Alright. The summoned beast nodded slightly, flapping its huge wings, and took off into the sky. What a big bird. Naruto's right hand was on his forehead, looking at a huge owl flying high not far away. Sasuke, who didn't know when he had stood next to Naruto, reminded him speechlessly. Idiot Naruto, where have you seen a now this big? This is obviously a ninja's summoned beast. Naruto was taken aback, then clapped his hands together, suddenly realizing. So it's a summoned beast. But why is there a summoned beast? Naruto frowned. Could it be? There are ninjas from Hidden Cloud's village in this port, and they sent a message after discovering us? Forget it, it doesn't matter. If Naruto and the others were living ninjas, they would definitely worry about whether their whereabouts being exposed would cause any bad things to happen. But Naruto and the others are a group of pirates, and as pirates, they should be upright. They just swaggered into the Land of Thunder, Even if they were discovered by the ninjas of Hidden Cloud's village, what could they do? If they have the ability, they should send out all the ninjas from the village and set up a trap. See if they can catch all the pirates in the Whitebeard Pirates. Maybe we can catch him. Haku also came to Naruto's side. For every ninja we catch, we can get a considerable ransom from Hidden Cloud's village, right? Speaking of this, Haku smiled. With enough money, we can build more Moby Dicks. If one day, every division captain can have a Moby Dick. By then, when our new Whitebeard Pirates with a dozen Moby Dicks meet the people from the old Whitebeard Pirates, it will surely shock them, right? Haku's words made Naruto fall into deep thought. It has to be said that Haku's words are indeed very tempting. The cost of a Moby Dick is nearly 1 billion Ryo. If you build a dozen Moby Dicks, wouldn't that require tens of billions of Ryo? Indeed. If they really need that much money, then the Whitebeard Pirates must knock a large sum from the ninja villages, daimyo, nobles, merchants. After all, they are pirates. Pirates rob, collect protection fees, kidnap, extort, blackmail, and eat black. That's normal, right? It's reasonable, right? Thinking of this, Naruto shouted at Whitebeard Pops behind him. Pops, we're going ashore first. The next second, Naruto climbed over the railing of Moby Dick. The whole person jumped down. Sasuke and Haku followed closely. Haku, wait for me. Ino actually ran over too, and she also jumped down. But the eager Ino forgot that she hadn't learned the water walking technique yet, and as a result, when she jumped, Ino in midair suddenly reacted. Then, there was a scream that echoed through the sky. In the end, it was Haku who jumped down first, who quickly caught Ino. Ino instinctively reached out and tightly gripped Haku's neck. A set of actions flowed like water. One seriously wonders, is this Ino's thousand-layer scheme? Young people are really lively. Kakashi was holding a book that he had flipped through 4 or 5 times. There was no choice, there were simply no bookstores on the vast sea. Kakashi learned his lesson this time. He felt that before he set sail next time, he must save up a few more books. TSK, they should be chasing after that summoned beast, right? Kisame stood next to Kakashi, his hands crossed over his chest. It seems that someone has discovered our whereabouts. Do we need to go and see? After all, they are just 4 children. Kakashi asked. Kisame smirked. Kakashi, you should have enough confidence in our team leader. Even if he encounters a Jonin from Hidden Cloud's village, Naruto can fight. Izumi Uchiha was flipping through her exquisite small wallet. She mumbled thoughtfully, my last sword was destroyed in the battle with the Two-Tails Jinchuriki. It seems I need to buy a few more ninja swords when I get off the ship. And Izumi was a bit embarrassed, twisting her legs. This age just happened to be when girls start their periods, and recently she has been borrowing sanitary pads from her mother. And the daily necessities of the Uchiha clan's children also need Izumi Uchiha to help buy. Then she found out. The money in her small wallet seemed not enough. This money can support her alone, even if you add her mother, there is no problem. But to support the entire Uchiha clan, Izumi found out that money is really necessary. Sister Izumi, we are pirates. Karen could see Izumi Uchiha's predicament at a glance. She smiled and said, let's go to the Land of Thunder and see what bad guys are there. Bad guys? Izumi didn't quite understand. Karen explained, for example, the thugs of the casino, or the gangsters, the nobles who exploit the common people, the ninjas who bully ordinary people. These are all bad guys. We find these bad guys, solve them all, and then take their money. Not only are we eliminating harm for the people, but we can also make money. Karen's words have more of a pirate's style. Izumi Uchiha was greatly shocked. So you can do this. If the people on the Whitebeard pirate cruise ship were to rob the powerless civilians, they would definitely not have the heart to do it. After all, every pirate in the Whitebeard pirate crew is very principled. If you use pirate terms, that is very righteous. But if the object of robbery is the kind of person Karen mentioned, Izumi found that she seemed to have no guilt. Count me in. Shizue laughed. For the revival of the Uchiha clan, I should take some responsibility and bear some obligations. Seeing Shizue, Izumi, and Karen leave one after another, Kakashi couldn't help but mutter, 4 people are tracking a Hidden Cloud's village ninja, and 3 people are preparing to get money in the Land of Thunder. Sure enough, no matter where our Whitebeard pirate crew runs, we can always make that place chaotic. Kakashi couldn't help but sigh. Let's get off the ship too. Kisame patted Kakashi's shoulder, the wine on the ship is all drunk. We have to go down and buy some wine for Pops. Watching the people of the Whitebeard pirate crew jump off the ship one after another, Samuel secretly made a decision, let the summoned beast go back and notify Raikage-sama, and then I will stay here to secretly observe the movements of the Whitebeard pirate crew. In this way, If there is any unexpected situation, I can immediately deliver the first-hand information back. Just as Samyu wanted to take a moment to see where her summoned beast had flown to, she heard a child's light shout not far away. Wind style, great breakthrough. Samyu quickly turned her head to look. Before she could see who the little kid using the wind style ninjutsu was, she saw her summoned beast, which had been summoned, being blown and swaying in the air. With a bang, a puff of white smoke popped out in midair. The owl summoned beast, which was blown dizzy by the wind style, great breakthrough, chose to unilaterally cancel the summoning technique. Otherwise, it would sooner or later fall down. Seeing this, Samyu immediately realized that something was wrong. Not good. They found my summoned beast trying to go back and report the news. Does it mean that my whereabouts have also been discovered? Samyu broke out in a cold sweat. Could it be that the moment she summoned the owl summoned beast, she was keenly noticed by the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates? Not good. I can't stay in the port. Samyu originally wanted to stay and monitor the Whitebeard Pirates, but now she found that her situation had fallen into a passive state. Continuing to stay here might cause an accident. A pirate with a bounty of 100 million. He's not a character to be trifled with. However, just as she turned around and wanted to leave immediately, a sudden voice caught her attention. The voice sounded very immature, not yet in puberty. It was a little boy's voice. You're dressed like this, although you don't have a ninja forehead protector, you should be a ninja, right? Samyu immediately turned her head to look, and found a black-haired little kid standing not far behind. The black-haired little kid had his hands in his pockets, looking a bit like a kid pretending to be adult. Samyu originally wanted to ignore this little kid and walk in another direction. But the next second she found that there was also a little kid in the other direction. This little kid also had black hair, her hair was very long, and from her facial features, she was a very beautiful little girl. Sorry, this way is not passable. Haku's hands were hanging down, and his right hand was on the ninja tools bag. Samyu saw the ninja tools bag tied to Haku's thigh. Could these two little kids be ninjas? They're so young, they look like they should be students at the ninja school, right? The problem is, their skin color doesn't look like the people of the Land of Thunder. Damn, I didn't expect that white bird to run so fast. I originally wanted to shoot it down and eat roast bird meat today. Naruto's voice also reached Samyu's ears. She looked again and saw a blonde little kid walking this way. The key is, the sentence this little kid said in his mouth, made Samyu startled. What does it mean? Could it be that the mysterious ninja who almost shot down her summoned beast just now was this blonde little kid? But he looks too young, right? How could he use a wind-style ninjutsu with such a wide range? I was surrounded by these little kids, they must have premeditated to surround me. They first attracted my attention with my summoned beast, and then blocked all my retreats. They are quite tactical. Such a thought flashed through Samyu's mind. Even if her reaction is dull, anyone can know that these little kids are not simple. Little kids? Are you guys from the Whitebeard Pirates? Samyu's face didn't have too much expression change, but one of her hands was already on the hilt of the ninja sword. She found that the features of these little devils were somewhat similar to the little devils who first jumped down from Moby Dick. That's right. Naruto grinned. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, I am the captain of the first division of the Whitebeard Pirates. In the future, I want to become Hokage, even surpass Hokage. Hearing Naruto's self-introduction again, Sasuke was not to be outdone. He put on a cool expression and said, I'm Whitebeard Pirate crew member, Sasuke Uchiha. I'm the man who will revive the Uchiha clan in the future and spread the bloodline of the Uchiha clan throughout the ninja world. I'm Haku, a person who wants to protect the Whitebeard Pirate crew, protect my family, and wants the ninja world to no longer have pain. Haku also tried to introduce himself along with everyone else. Naruto Uzumaki? Sasuke Uchiha. Haku? The first one is from the Uzumaki clan? The second one is from the Uchiha clan? What about the third one? Does her name only have one character? Because Haku's voice was too neutral, Samyu mistook him for a girl. Wait a minute. Naruto Uzumaki? Samyu suddenly woke up with a start. Since the end of the Chunin exams, the name Naruto Uzumaki has appeared in the intelligence of every ninja village. Because this is the exposed Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. So, you guys are up to no good? Samyu had already drawn half of the ninja sword from her back, she said expressionlessly. This is not during wartime, I don't want to kill children. But if you little kids don't get out of the way, I don't mind, I'll sever your tendons and hamstrings. The sunny smile on Naruto's face did not fade, but rather there was a kind of eager excitement. My observation Haki can feel that you seem to be very powerful. If I capture you, I should be able to demand a higher ransom from Hidden Cloud's village, right? How much is good? 5 million ryos? Or 10 million ryos? Naruto was actually pondering how much Samui was worth in front of Samui. Samui's eyebrows were tightly furrowed. I have already given you guys a chance. A chill flashed in her eyes. If that's the case, then don't blame her for being rude. In an instant, the ninja sword at her waist was completely unsheathed, just as Samui was about to make a move. Ninjutsu, mind transfer jutsu. Ino, who had never shown her face, suddenly shouted softly in a shadowy corner. What? Samui was suddenly shocked in her heart. The next second she found that she had lost control of her body. Well done, Ino. Naruto immediately rushed forward, and with a flying kick, he kicked towards Samui. At this critical moment, Samui managed to forcefully break free from the mind transfer jutsu with her impressive strength. Because she is a Jonin in Hidden Cloud's village. Otherwise, she would not have been sent alone to meet the Jinchuriki. Samui, who had regained control of her body, saw a blonde kid kicking at her. But the distance between the two was too close. She couldn't dodge it. Samui immediately tensed her abdominal muscles, thinking how strong could a kid's power be? She could withstand this blow even if she took it hard. At this thought, Samui's eyes suddenly widened, and the cold expression on her face could no longer be maintained. Because Naruto's kick had already landed on her abdomen, and her abdomen was noticeably sunken. Pua! A terrifying force exploded in her abdomen, and Samui felt that this kick was no less than being stepped on the stomach by a large elephant. Her entire body was thrown back and flew out. During the flight, she even vomited the bitter water in her stomach. Her intestines felt like they had been kicked and broken. Her body heavily hit the wall of a building at the port. The wall was hit with several cracks. Cough cough. Such a great strength. Samui, clutching her abdomen, knelt on one knee. She thought she had looked highly enough at this little kid, but she didn't expect that she had still underestimated this little kid. Suddenly, Samui hurriedly rolled over in pain. Several shurikens that had broken through the air were inserted into the place where she had just been. She turned her head to look, and found that it was the little devil who called himself Sasuke Uchiha. Don't think that only Naruto Uzumaki is your opponent. Sasuke immediately rushed forward, each hand holding a kunai, and went straight to Samui for a close kill. Samui swung her sword to block, and in the blink of an eye, she blocked Sasuke's attack. Your strength is much weaker than that of Naruto Uzumaki. Samui swung away Sasuke's kunai, suddenly reached out a hand, and grabbed Sasuke's wrist. After controlling Sasuke, she stabbed Sasuke's abdomen with her Chunin sword. Ice style, 1,000 flying water needles of death. The sharp breaking sound suddenly sounded, causing Samui to immediately throw away the little devil in her hand. She endured the pain in her abdomen, jumped back to avoid the attack, only to see a dense array of ice needles inserted in the position where she was standing just now. Ice? Samui looked at Hiku. Ice-style KK Genkai? A Nine-Tails Jinchuriki from Hidden Leaf Village, a little devil from the Uchiha clan of Hidden Leaf Village, a little devil with ice-style KK Genkai, and someone hiding in the dark using some strange ninjutsu. What is this? Is the famous Whitebeard pirates a kindergarten? But she also had to admit that these little devils did have some skills. Rasengan. In Samui's days, Naruto was already holding a Rasengan, and instantly appeared behind her. Chapter 249, Whitebeard, who is already a legend in the ninja world. The Whitebeard pirates have one more captive. The Rasengan from Naruto, accompanied by the turbulent airflow stirred by the Rasengan, woke up the dazed Samui instantly. She hurriedly lowered her body to squat down. The Rasengan in Naruto's hand almost grazed her hair. Samui's peripheral vision could also see the Rasengan in Naruto's hand. That sphere containing an astonishing amount of chakra brought a sense of death crisis. If she got hit by this ninjutsu, her head might be deflated like a piece of paper. Samui immediately propped up the ground with one hand, rolled her body, and without hesitation, she raised a foot and kicked towards Naruto. Naruto, who was in midair, couldn't dodge. He could only raise his hand to block her kick. Although Naruto's strength was great, his weight was light, and he was directly kicked away by Samui. At this time, a surging high temperature came from beside Samui. Fire style, Great Fireball. It turned out that Sasuke used a fire style, Great Fireball, against Samui, and a raging flame rushed towards Samui. Seeing this, Samui decisively made a hand seal, lightning style, Hidden Cloud's village style ninja taijutsu. Another hand's ninja sword emerged, a ball of lightning style chakra. The blade was wrapped with fine electric arcs, making a zila zila sound. Lightning blade flying slash. Samui held the sword with one hand and slashed it in the air. With this slash, she actually slashed out a wolf tooth-shaped lightning strike. The lightning went straight to the fire style, Great Fireball. The lightning style ninjutsu, released by the dignified Jonin, easily tore through the fire style, Great Fireball. The lightning-style ninjutsu, undiminished in power, flew straight towards Sasuke, who was behind the fireball. But when the lightning-style ninjutsu hit Sasuke, Sasuke's body suddenly turned into a puff of white smoke and disappeared. Clone jutsu? Was it used when my vision was blocked by the fire style? What an amazing combat talent. Samuel quickly swung her sword to the right to block. A flying kunai was blocked by her, and the kunai fell in front of her on the ground. But Samuel did not stop her movement. She kicked the kunai away with one foot. Because the kunai was wrapped with a burning explosive tag. Boom boom boom. The violent rumbling sound of the explosive tag's explosion blew a big hole in the wall of a building next to it, scaring the fishermen, sailors, and merchants at the port. They all scattered and fled. Ice style, freezing capsule. A small ice ball suddenly flew over. Samuel quickly cut it off with a sword, but the next second she found something was wrong. Although the ice ball was cut in half by her, a thin layer of frost appeared on her ninja sword. The frost quickly climbed up the ninja sword to the hilt. It even covered her right palm. In an emergency, Samuel immediately activated the lightning-style chakra in her body to melt the frost that was about to climb up her arm. Multiple shadow clone jutsu. Naruto's voice rang out. Naruto didn't mind at all that his ninjutsu was known to others. He always shouted out loud what ninjutsu he was going to use. It was at this moment that Samuel's pupils suddenly contracted. Her gaze wandered in all directions. Because in front of her, behind her, to her left, and to her right, there were dense figures everywhere. One after another, Naruto's appeared in front of Samuel. Looking around, it was hard for the naked eye to count exactly how many Narutos there were, possibly hundreds, or even thousands. Is this the chakra amount of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Seeing Naruto split out so many clones at once, a trace of surprise flashed in Samuel's eyes. Even she, a Jonin from Hidden Cloud's village, couldn't split out so many clones at once. Splitting out hundreds of clones would instantly drain her chakra. Is this the shadow clone jutsu that Naruto learned from Kakashi? Sasuke stared at the dense Narutos in front of him, dumbfounded. Even his wide-open single Tomoe Sharingan couldn't see clearly which one was Naruto's real body. Ha ha ha. Let's go together. Hundreds of thousands of Narutos shouted in unison. They swarmed towards Samuel. A clone flew up with a kick, aiming at the back of Samuel's head. Samuel dodged with a side step. Then she grabbed the ankle of this shadow clone with one hand and slammed it down hard. With a bang, the shadow clone turned into a puff of white smoke and disappeared. It's actually a physical clone jutsu. A trace of gloom flashed in Samuel's eyes. That situation was not good. Facing attacks from all directions, Samuel could only swing the ninja sword in her hand, constantly killing one shadow clone after another. But there were too many shadow clones. She was inevitably kicked in the groin by a shadow clone from behind. Samuel. No matter if it's a male or female, that part is a very vulnerable and sensitive position. Intense pain made her break out in a cold sweat. That kind of pain made it somewhat difficult for her to stand straight. Despicable brat. Samuel gritted her teeth. The short blade ninja sword in her hand surged with lightning. Lightning-style ninjutsu, circular lightning rising flow. She twisted her body and turned 360 degrees, and the Chunin sword in her hand also slashed out a perfect circle. The current released by the sword surged in all directions. Arcs of electricity affected a large number of shadow clones. Bang 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 bang. A large number of shadow clones exploded continuously like ignited firecrackers, but they never touched Naruto's real body. Where is the real body of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Samuel's gaze was carefully searching. Suddenly she keenly saw that in the crowd of shadow clones, there was a figure standing still in the original place. She immediately understood in her heart, found you. Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Samuel was no longer passively defending, but run in that direction. A sword exploded a shadow clone. Her speed was very fast. In less than 2 seconds, she had already killed the Naruto Uzumaki who was standing still. Samuel's Chunin sword was sent forward. The sharp blade pointed at Naruto's throat. Little kid, it's all over. Samuel said coldly. Since you are the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, then you should come with me. You want to kidnap me and ask for money from Hidden Cloud's village, then I need to do the same, right? A living Jinchuriki, for every ninja village, is an extraordinary temptation. If the Jinchuriki can be tied back to the village, and the tailed beast inside him can be used by Hidden Cloud's village, then the strength of Hidden Cloud's village will definitely go up a level. By then, it will surpass Hidden Leaf village, surpass Hidden Stones village, surpass Hidden Mist village, surpass Hidden Sand village, and become the most powerful ninja village among the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world. Ah. But I'm not the real body? The Naruto Uzumaki whose throat was held by the blade smiled innocently and scratched his head and confessed actively. Not the real body? Damn it. Samui's heart was alarmed. She immediately realized that this Naruto Uzumaki in front of her was also a shadow clone. This might be a trap set up by that little kid. The purpose is to make her take the initiative to attack this shadow clone. Samui hurriedly jumped back a distance, fearing that there were several explosive tags hidden on this shadow clone. But the next second, she felt something wrong. Because the little kid who claimed to be a shadow clone didn't do anything. Did you believe whatever I say? Naruto stuck out his tongue. The smile on his face had a bit of cunning. Haku watched this scene not far away and made a sharp comment. This female ninja looks very calm, but I always feel that she is not very smart. Sasuke nodded in agreement. I heard Kisame say that there are some people in Hidden Cloud's village who have developed muscles and simple minds. Although she doesn't look like her muscles are that developed, maybe her mind is indeed simpler. In fact, Sasuke also didn't see which one was Naruto's real body. But Sasuke pretended to know everything. The sharp comments from the other two little devils were not loud. But it still fell into Samui's ears. Samui. Her calm state of mind finally showed a few ripples. That is to say, she could have continued to hold that little devil just now, but she just thought that was a shadow clone. A casual sentence from the Night-Tail's Jinchuriki actually fooled her. On the other side, Ino, who had used a mind transfer jutsu once before, was forcibly broken free by Samui, and then fainted due to backlash, finally woke up slowly at this moment. From Ino's excellent position, she could just see Samui's background. Huh. Ino slowly exhaled. I don't believe it. Let's try again. Ino made a gesture, her hands forming a square, just targeting Samui. Just as Samui was about to make a move, Ino mobilized the chakra in her body, which was not much to begin with, and she shouted softly again. Ninjutsu, mind transfer jutsu. Without mastering the information of the Yamanaka clan, Ino's family secret technique is to bug, most suitable for sneak attacks. Samui once again felt that her consciousness was forcibly squeezed out by another consciousness. Before Samui could hurry to forcibly break free from this bondage, Ino, who was controlling Samui's body, stabbed her own abdomen with a sword in the limit of 1 second. When the tip of the sword pierced the belly, Ino hurriedly unilaterally lifted the technique. At this moment, Samui regained control of her body. But the action in her hand carried inertia. Puchy, the sword directly entered her abdomen a full 5 centimeters. Blood splattered. Samui. Good opportunity. Haku, who was observing the opportunity on the other side, immediately jumped to a height of 2 or 3 meters, and instantly clapped his hands, ice style, 1,000 leaves chaos technique. Den-sized needles flew towards Samui. Samui had to forcibly pull out the ninja sword inserted in her abdomen and hurriedly block the iced needles flying all over the sky. But the speed of bleeding from the abdominal wound was faster. Fire style, Phoenix fire technique. 5 groups of flames also flew from behind Samui, forcing her to dodge in pain. Boom 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 boom. All 5 groups of flames fell at the same point, blasting a small pit in the ground. If a few little kids fight her one-on-one, Samui believes that besides the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, she only needs one hand to solve several. But these little kids combined, plus the not bad strength of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and a little devil hiding in the dark using that weird ninjutsu. For a while, it made Samui, a jonin from Hidden Cloud's village, in a mess. Suddenly, a very evil and cold chakra enveloped the whole field. Making Samui couldn't help but shiver. In her somewhat shocked gaze, she saw that the group of shadow clones disappeared, and the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki named Naruto Uzumaki began to show a layer of orange-red chakra. If she didn't guess wrong, that should be the chakra of the tailed beast, right? This little kid can already use the power of the tailed beast? At this moment, Naruto's eyes have become like a fox's eyes, and the nails on his 10 fingers have also become sharp. Looking up at the jonin from Hidden Cloud's village in front of him, Naruto's face was excited with a smile. If I can catch you, it will be the first time for us to catch a jonin from a ninja village alive. Naruto knew that Samui was a jonin from Hidden Cloud's village because Samui's strength must have reached the jonin level. His first time in his mouth is the first time for these children, without the help of adults. The moment Naruto's voice fell, he took advantage of Samui's injury, his legs pushed hard, and he appeared in front of Samui in the blink of an eye. So fast. Samui, with one hand covering the wound on her abdomen and the other hand holding the short-bladed ninja sword, hurriedly slashed forward. As a result, the sword wrapped in electric arcs suddenly lost its momentum. Because a small hand tightly grabbed the blade. Naruto was not afraid of his palm being cut at all. He brutally went barehanded into the blade, under the double blessing of the tailed beast chakra and armament haki. The skin of his palm was even harder to break than ordinary steel. Crack. With a crisp sound, the sword was directly broken by Naruto with one hand. Naruto's other hand also reached out to Samui. Rip. Although Samui dodged to the back in time, Her clothes were still torn with 5 slits. Her curvaceous body was almost exposed. Rasengan. A Rasengan larger than a human head was instantly condensed, and Naruto, holding the Rasengan, pressed it heavily towards Samui. Lightning-style ninjutsu, lightning armor. Samui hurriedly clapped her hands, and the rolling chakra condensed into a solid lightning armor, which enveloped her whole person, without leaving any gaps. Boom. The moment the Rasengan collided with a lightning-style armor, she knew that she had underestimated the power of the Jinchuriki. And even more underestimated the power of the tailed beast. Samui's body flew backwards like a cannonball. The lightning-style armor protecting her body shattered on the spot, and the clothes on her upper body were also torn into pieces, and the indescribable things were swaying at will. In Samui's blurred vision, the scenery in front of her was retreating crazily, turning into dazzling streaks of light. She's flying towards Moby Dick. Naruto scratched his head a bit embarrassedly. Did I use too much force just now? He had just seen that Samui had a layer of armor on her body. So he used all his strength. What if he accidentally killed the other party? Wouldn't he be unable to exchange for a ransom? Naruto started to regret a bit. A dead Hidden Clouds village Jonin is not as valuable as a living one. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr battle in the port. Seeing several stupid sons and daughters unite and defeat a not weak female ninja from Hidden Cloud's village. Whitebeard was quite pleased with this. Although there is a suspicion of sneak attack here, but a few little kids who are not more than 10 years old, fighting with an adult is not fair. What's the big deal if the little kids sneak attack? Seeing the Hidden Cloud's village ninja flying over from there, Whitebeard casually caught her. He caught Samui with one hand. Puff! Samui's body hit Whitebeard's sturdy palm, as if it hit a hard iron wall. She vomited a mouthful of blood on the spot, and several bones in her body were broken. Before she could do anything else, Whitebeard's 5 fingers suddenly closed. He held Samui in his hand, binding her actions on the spot. Pain came from all over her body, but it was not enough to make her faint, which made Samui cough up a few mouthfuls of blood. Then, she quickly looked up. A big face appeared in front of her. The slightly drooping sharp gaze of the other party almost stopped her heart. Whitebeard! An incredulous exclamation came out of her mouth. Facing a legendary man at such a close distance, even her cold-as-ice character couldn't help but show a shocked look. Yes, in the ninja world, in the eyes of many people, Whitebeard is also a legendary man. Because Whitebeard's actions in the ninja world have repeatedly broken the unwritten rules of the ninja world and broken everyone's conventional cognition. Gorura, you are quite capable. Whitebeard ignored Samui in his hand and looked at Naruto and others in the distance. The next second, Whitebeard's 5 fingers just exerted a slight force. Samui's beautiful eyes widened, and she fainted on the spot. Samui has been captured. The Whitebeard pirate crew had just stepped into the territory of the Land of Thunder. They have already captured as many as 4 ninjas from Hidden Cloud's village. My head is so dizzy. Ino fainted twice in the short battle. Both times were because she used the mind transfer jutsu of the Yamanaka clan. If it were before she joined the Whitebeard pirate crew, she would not wake up without sleeping for a whole day after fainting once. But after joining the Whitebeard pirate crew, after a period of special training, Ino also became stronger. Where is that female ninja? Ino hurriedly looked around and found that Samui's figure had long disappeared. Did she run away again? No, she happened to hit Moby Dick. Naruto, who didn't know when he stood next to Ino, shook his head and said, and she's a bit unlucky, she just fell into Pop's hands. The 9 tails chakra on Naruto's body had already dissipated. He showed a brilliant smile. Such a powerful female ninja, Hidden Cloud's village should give us 15 million ryos anyway. Kidnapping, extortion, blackmail. Naruto is professional. Chapter 250, the Whitebeard pirate crew is here, and the clear sky of the Land of Thunder is here. A section of the port dock has become a mess due to the previous battle. Everyone at the port is still in shock. Although many buildings in the port have been damaged, they dare not ask for compensation from the Whitebeard pirate crew. Because they are afraid that they will end up in the same situation as the ninja from Hidden Cloud's village. Damn, how could such a powerful group of pirates suddenly appear? Are they the legendary Whitebeard pirate crew? In a corner of the port dock, a thug dressed as a samurai couldn't help but swallow. The famous daimyo of the Whitebeard pirate crew, not to mention the ninjas, even the civilians had heard a little. They won't be docking at this dock for a long time, will they? The samurai thug suddenly took a cold breath. If this group of pirates stayed here, would they still do their business? This samurai belongs to a somewhat dark social organization, usually doing some shady deals at this port dock. For example, like the protection fee for the merchant ships docking here, or some arms, powder, organ, smuggling transactions. Anyway, Whatever makes money the fastest. These people usually live quite freely in this small area. But the sudden arrival of the Whitebeard pirate crew caught them off guard. Not good, I have to go and inform the boss. Tell the boss about the seriousness of the matter. The samurai thug hurriedly turned around to leave. But at this moment, a sudden pleasant voice made his steps pause. Little friend, are you sure it's him? Yes, yes. The samurai thug was so frightened that he immediately turned his head to look, and saw 4 people standing behind him. One of them is a little kid with bandages around his eyes, one is a little kid with long black hair, one is a little kid with a head of red hair, and another is a little kid with dark skin. The first 3 are probably not locals from the Land of Thunder, the last little devil should be a local brought by the other 3. The few people in front of the samurai are indeed Shizue Uchiha, Izumi Uchiha, Uzumaki Karen, and a little girl who has lived in this port since she was a child. Little girl, how many bad guys are there? Izumi Uchiha bent over, showing a kind smile, and asked the little girl from the Land of Thunder. I don't know. The little girl shook her head blankly. Maybe there are a dozen, or maybe there are dozens. But they are all big bad guys. The little girl hid behind Izumi, seeming to be very afraid of the samurai. My dad wanted to go out to sea to fish a few months ago, but they stopped him. They said that if you want to go out to sea to fish, you have to pay a fishing fee of 1,000 ryo first. My dad didn't want to pay, because my dad said that the sea belongs to everyone. We have been fishing for generations, why do we have to pay for fishing now? Then my dad was beaten by these bad guys and broke a hand. When the little girl talked about this sad thing, her voice was choked with sobs, and there was a faint sense of fear. Karen asked curiously. Haven't you found the ninjas of Hidden Clouds Village to uphold justice for you? Those ninjas in the ninja village should have this duty and obligation, right? The little girl lowered her head and answered weakly. Mom went to find them, but when she came back, she said that the ninja adults didn't want to take care of this small matter. This is not a small matter. Karen corrected. The existence of these bad guys has always been deceiving you honest people. Once these bad guys use violent means, your family may never be able to climb out of the abyss in this life. It seems to be the same everywhere. There are bad ninjas in Hidden Grass Village, there are in Hidden Leaf Village, and there are in Hidden Clouds Village. Izumi Uchiha couldn't help but reach out and rub the little girl's hair. She also helped her wipe the tears that flowed out. Izumi affirmed. It's okay now, because the Whitebeard pirates are here. After saying that, Izumi Uchiha looked at Karen. It seems you are right, there will be such people everywhere. The Whitebeard pirates never lack mobile piggy banks. The piggy bank in Izumi's mouth is naturally not ordinary civilians like the little girl. How much money can these ordinary civilians have? What she said piggy bank is people like the samurai. And their conversation can be said to be very open and upright, there is no concealment, all were heard by the samurai. The samurai couldn't help but sweat. Are the little kids in front of him actually pirates of the Whitebeard pirates? What does this sentence mean? Are they going to target him? Realizing that the situation was not good, the samurai hurriedly wanted to leave. But the next second, Shizue, who had not spoken, suddenly spoke. Don't move. Otherwise, the next shuriken that flies out will not be aimed at your knee, but at your throat. What does it mean? The samurai was stunned. But as soon as he took a step, the intense pain in his knee made his expression change drastically. He hurriedly looked down and found that his knee was deeply embedded with a shuriken at some point. The blood dyed half of his trouser leg red along the wound, and the pain and the blood flowing out made his expression turn pale. You. Don't mess around. The samurai was scared, he hurriedly pulled out his samurai sword to bolster his courage. I am one of the members of the Shoukengumi. Our Shoukengumi has more than 20 underworld members. It seems we really found the right person. The threat stuttered out of the samurai's mouth had no effect, but instead made Izumi Uchiha's mouth curl up in a smile. A group of pirates robbing a gang, that seems quite reasonable, doesn't it? Samurai thug. Izumi Uchiha completely ignored the samurai sword in the other party's hand. She asked, where is your headquarters? Is it in this port? Or somewhere else? Damn female pirate. The samurai thug stubbornly retorted, I will absolutely not betray my comrades. But as soon as he finished saying this, he found that the eyes of the not-so-old female pirate suddenly turned blood red. Under the influence of the 3 Tomoe Sharingan's Genjutsu, the samurai thug's facial expression became dull. Afterwards, no matter what question Izumi Uchiha asked, he answered truthfully. After all the questions were asked, Izumi directly used Genjutsu to scare him so much that he fainted. When dealing with this obviously not good guy, Izumi would not be polite to him. In fact, Izumi is a little excited now, because she is about to experience her first crime in her life. Before, when she was again in Hidden Leaf Village. She had never done such a thing. On Moby Dick. Cough. Cough. Nayujito gradually woke up from her unconscious state. She felt her mouth was dry and her throat was like being stabbed by a sword. Suddenly, her somewhat confused consciousness completely woke up. Her eyes quickly observed the surroundings. Nayujito found herself in a prison cell. The space in the prison cell is very narrow. There is only a single bed and a covered wooden barrel inside. If she didn't guess wrong, this wooden barrel should be for her to excrete. Was she captured? Oh right. She seemed to have been captured a long time ago. Two tails. Matatabi. Nayujito suddenly remembered what had happened before she fainted. She wanted to immerse her soul consciousness into the tailed beast seal space. As a result, what made Nayujito a little confused was that the seal space in her body had disappeared. The seal space has disappeared, let alone the two tails that was sealed inside. Her tailed beast is gone. She is no longer a Jinchuriki. But that's not right. If the Whitebeard pirate crew forcibly stripped the tailed beast from her body, according to common sense, she should be dead, right? So, is this the underworld? Or heaven? Nayujito couldn't help but pinch her arm. Found it a bit painful. Will the soul that has already died still hurt? She also reached out to feel her heartbeat. The thump beating sensation of her heart was very obvious. Will a person who has already died still have a heartbeat? Various signs led her to a conclusion. She is still alive. She is not dead. Nayujito felt very incredible. This is completely different from what she knew. It touched her knowledge blind spot. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with my body. Just as Nayujito was murmuring to herself, a familiar voice came from her side. Yujito-sama? Yujito-sama, is that you? Are you awake? Yujito found that this seemed to be the voice of one of her subordinates. It seems that this place should be where the Whitebeard pirate crew detains prisoners. I'm awake. Yujito replied in a somewhat complicated tone, and then asked, how long have I been unconscious this time? The voice of a Hidden Clouds Village Chunin rang out. We saw someone move you here over an hour ago. Had she been unconscious for over an hour? Yujito gave a bitter smile. She woke up quite early this time. The chakra inside my body can't be mobilized at all. It should be a very special sealing technique that has sealed my chakra. Is this to prevent me from escaping? It must be that red-haired woman who used the sealing technique. Yujito checked her physical condition and found that she didn't even qualify to escape now. A ninja who can't mobilize the chakra inside his body, plus he's not the kind of ninja with natural brute strength. Under such circumstances, she was no different from an ordinary person with good physical fitness. Thinking of escaping from this place is like daydreaming. It's like a fairy tale. Suddenly, a sound of footsteps came. Yujito immediately stood up. She reached out and grabbed the iron bars of the prison, her cheek tightly against the iron bars, trying to see what was going on. Then, she saw a blonde woman walk in. It was Tsunade of the Sannin. She also saw that Tsunade was carrying a person on her body, who, like Tsunade and Yujito, also had light golden hair. But Yujito couldn't see the other person's face. Really? That old man throws all the mess at me. He made this person into this state, then threw her in front of me to heal her, and said that after she was healed, let me throw her into the bottom of the ship's cabin. Tsunade grumbled discontentedly. I'm not his daughter, I'm just temporarily staying on Moby Dick. Why should I do this hard work? After complaining, Tsunade casually opened a prison door and threw the unconscious woman in. Although she said all kinds of complaints. But her body was honest. After Tsunade closed the prison door, she turned around and looked at Yujito behind her, showing a teasing smile. She said, Yo. Awake again? I heard that your tailed beast was stripped out. It's really a miracle that you're still alive. From a Jinchuriki to a prisoner of the Whitebeard pirates, the tailed beast inside you was taken away by the Whitebeard pirates. Isn't the gap feeling a bit big? There was a bit of mockery on Tsunade's face. Do you want me to teach you a method that has a certain probability of escaping? What method? Yujito instinctively asked the question. Tsunade chuckled. If you kneel down in front of Whitebeard in a very standard kneeling posture, and sincerely recognize him as your father, you have at least an 80 to 90% chance of escaping. After hearing this, Yujito gritted her teeth. Tsunade, one of the Sannin of Hidden Leaf Village, do you like to humiliate people so much? She didn't think this was a method. She just felt that Tsunade was humiliating her. TSK, I've already given you a great method. If you don't appreciate it, I can't help it. Tsunade shrugged her shoulders. As she turned to leave, she reminded Yujito. I forgot to tell you, this female ninja is also from your Hidden Clouds village, maybe you two know each other. Now she is like you, has become a prisoner of the Whitebeard pirates. I have a premonition that you will soon have a batch of prison mates. Speaking of which, That girl's thing is quite big, it's even bigger than mine, it's outrageous. After dropping this sentence, Tsunade left directly. Anyway, she had already seen the fun, she wouldn't stay here to be bored. Watching Tsunade disappear, Yujito quickly turned her gaze to the prison cell she was facing. Just now, Tsunade casually threw a female ninja from Hidden Cloud's village in front of Yujito. Who was this? At this moment, Yujito finally saw that face. It was a face that made her feel very familiar. Samui? Yujito naturally recognized Samui. A look of astonishment appeared on her face. How did she get captured by the Whitebeard pirate crew too? Why did Whitebeard capture so many ninjas from Hidden Cloud's village? Was it purely to capture the two-tailed beasts of Hidden Cloud's village? Samui? Samui? It's me, Yujito. Wake up. Samui, wake up. Yujito hurriedly called out to the Jonin from the same village. She trying to wake her up? Unfortunately, Samui, who had been beaten up by Naruto and others and then pinched by Whitebeard, had fallen into a deep coma. She is still alive now, purely because of Tsunade's excellent medical skills. Time passed. Hidden Cloud's village. Inside the Raikage office of the Raikage building, an Anbu ninja from Hidden Cloud's village appeared in front of the fourth Raikage. Ever since the second Hokage Sanjudobi Rama of Hidden Leaf Village single-handedly established the Hidden Leaf Village Anbu, many ninja villages have begun to emulate Hidden Leaf Village's operations and establish their own Anbu. The Anbu of Hidden Cloud's village was also established at that time. And they emulated Hidden Leaf Village very thoroughly. Even the Anbu ninjas of Hidden Cloud's village are wearing masks. Raikage-sama, Samui, Yujito, Udawai, Naku. These four people have not yet returned to the village, and their traces and figures have not been found in the village. The Anbu ninja of Hidden Cloud's village reported to the fourth Raikage. The fourth Hokage had a look of doubt on his rugged face. According to the time, they should have returned to Hidden Cloud's village, right? He immediately realized that the two-tails Jinchuriki might have had an accident. Samui, who was receiving the Jinchuriki, also had an accident. As a battle-hardened ninja, the fourth Raikage felt that his guess was very accurate and could not be wrong. He immediately gritted his teeth, and the anger in his chest made him slap the table. With a bang, the table was split in half by his palm, and some files and archives on it were scattered all over the floor. Damn it! Who dares to attack our Jinchuriki of Hidden Cloud's village? Which bastard is so ignorant of life and death? Clenched his fist, gritted his teeth and immediately ordered, immediately send someone to investigate the port where Samui received Yujito carefully. Yes, Raikage-sama. On the other side. Somewhere in the Land of Thunder. I didn't expect it. This time 4 people acting together. This is the first time I have encountered this situation since I joined Akatsuki. Orochimaru stretched out a long tongue and licked his lips. In the last battle of Hidden Leaf Village, the one who was most seriously injured was actually Manda, not Orochimaru. After so much time, Orochimaru's injuries have almost healed. Then, Orochimaru put his interested gaze on Itachi Uchiha. Itachi-kun, I have seen you when you were a child. Don't show such a cold expression. We are 2 ninjas from the same village. Orochimaru showed a weird smile and said to Itachi, I am very interested in your Uchiha clan, especially those special eyes of yours. Orochimaru never hides his ambitions. From his naked words, it can be heard that he is curious and covetous about Itachi Uchiha's pair of eyes. Our more important task is to carry out the organization's mission, not to reminisce. Itachi Uchiha glanced at Orochimaru indifferently. I hope you can understand the priorities. Itachi still had an expressionless face, making it impossible to see his thoughts. TCH, teaming up with this disgusting guy again, really makes me uncomfortable. Next to Orochimaru was a puppet with a very large body. The height of this puppet was actually as high as 3 floors. The person speaking was Sasori, who was hidden inside the puppet. This is the puppet that was created to deal with Whitebeard. But this puppet has not been perfected yet. He was called out by Pain to carry out the mission. Just at the right time, he can also take the opportunity to try whether this new puppet is good or not. The leader asked us to investigate the information of the 2 Jinchuriki of Hidden Cloud's village. Biwajazo, carrying Kubika Ribicho, interjected. We have to discuss where to start first, right? At this moment in the Land of Thunder. Whitebeard Pirates, Hidden Cloud's village, Akatsuki. The 3 parties gathered together. Chapter 251, Teaching Marine 6 Styles. Orochimaru, how could the Whitebeard Pirates be here? Let me talk about the information we Akatsuki currently have. Biwajazo, wearing a black and red cloud robe, leaned against a big tree. Kubika Ribicho was propped on the ground, he said. The 2 Jinchuriki of Hidden Cloud's village are Killer B and Yujito, the former is male, the latter is female. Killer B, We don't have his whereabouts information for the time being, but from the information given to us by the leader, we can know where another Jinchuriki Yujito will go. Biwajuzo paused for a moment, his gaze swept over the three people in front of him, and continued. Two-tailed Jinchuriki Yujito left Land of Thunder with two Chunin 2 months ago to hunt down a renegade ninja from Hidden Clouds Village. And on the Hidden Clouds Village side, they recently sent a female ninja named Samyu to meet the two-tailed Jinchuriki at the port of Muku Town. At this point, Biwajuzo's mouth curled up with a smile. That is to say, as long as we get to Muku Town within a day, we can see the two-tailed Jinchuriki. Even. Biwajuzo's smile became even brighter. With the power of the four of us, we might even be able to capture her to Akatsuki and overcomplete the task. After saying this, Biwajuzo was observing the reactions of the other three. It is indeed possible. Sasori agreed. Just grab her directly, so as not to waste effort in the future. We don't have so much energy to waste on a Jinchuriki. Orochimaru gave a vague and sinister smile. I actually don't care, I can follow young people decision. However, Itachi Uchiha shook his head in disagreement. The leader's task for us is just to gather information, not to capture Jinchuriki. What if we capture Jinchuriki and cause uncontrollable factors? You two newcomers are so troublesome. Sasori said impatiently, there is no disagreement on this matter? Orochimaru's malicious gaze has been sizing up Itachi Uchiha, he suggested. It's not too late to make a decision after finding the two-tails Jinchuriki. Among these four people, I'm afraid only Sasori is the most innocent one. The rest all have ulterior motives. None of the three put their minds on the so-called task. At this moment, Orochimaru is not particularly interested in Jinchuriki. Biwajuzo is purely a spy lurking in the Akatsuki organization. Coincidentally, Itachi Uchiha is also the same kind of person. Having taken in the reactions of these three people, Biwajuzo immediately made his own judgment. Orochimaru seems to have no respect for the highest command of the Akatsuki leader. Itachi Uchiha seems to be thinking for the Akatsuki, unwilling to branch out during the task, but always feels that this guy is a bit strange. Sasori, this puppet master, all he thinks about is to finish the task quickly and then go back. Biwajuzo, who is undercover in the Akatsuki organization, might be able to use these three people. But Orochimaru is not easy to use, he can only cooperate with him. This person's mind is very deep. Biwajuzo does not have enough confidence to be able to grasp Orochimaru. But Itachi Uchiha, who is also a newcomer like himself, and Sasori, who doesn't have much thought. But it made Biwajuzo start to think. Then let's set off. Biwajuzo grabbed the Kubik Iribicho. The thoughts and ideas in his heart were not revealed by him, all were hidden by him. He said, if we go late and miss the two-tails Jinchuriki, it will be troublesome. Whoosh. 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 4 figures disappeared instantly. Time quickly came to the evening. On the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard pirate crew, Sammy, who had been in a coma for most of the day, gradually woke up. Although the wounds on her body had been treated and bandaged, the pain from all over her body still made her feel very uncomfortable. My arm has been plastered, a few ribs should have been broken, it seems to have been connected by someone, my abdomen and chest are wrapped in a circle of bandages, wrapped so tightly. As soon as Sammy woke up, she checked her physical condition for the first time. Her reaction is exactly the same as that of Yujito. Was it the Whitebeard pirate crew who hurt me and then saved me? Is this the captive hostage that Naruto Uzumaki mentioned? Realizing that there was nothing wrong with her body, but she seemed to have become a pirate's captive, she looked around. The next moment, she saw Yujito in front of her. The two were only a few meters apart, separated by a corridor and 2 prison doors. Samyu was completely stunned. She never thought that she would see Yujito in this place. And from her position, as long as she looked to the left, she could see that the prison on Yujito's left was holding a Hidden Clouds Village Chunin, and the prison on the right was also holding another Hidden Clouds Village Chunin. These 2 Chunin from Hidden Clouds Village both have a look of depression and regret. I saw the emotion of surprise from your expression. Yujito sat cross-legged on a small bed. She looked at Samyu and said, you didn't see it wrong, and I'm not transformed by any transformation jutsu. As you can see, the 3 of us were already captured by the Whitebeard pirates before we returned to the Land of Thunder. Sammy. For a moment, Sammy's brain crashed for several seconds. When she finally came back to her senses, she asked with a complex tone. As a Jinchuriki, you can be caught by these pirates? Bringing up this point, Yujito gave a bitter smile. In front of these legendary pirates, a Jinchuriki is nothing. Even the tailed beast is not a match for that man. A short sentence, revealing a huge amount of information, made Sammy's eyes widen. Sammy asked. You and the 2 tails are not a match for the Whitebeard pirates? I was defeated. Yujito explained. When Whitebeard didn't make a move, I could only tie with the Whitebeard pirates when I was fully transformed into a tailed beast, and I was even forced to use the tailed beast bomb. But when Whitebeard made a move, he made a move alone, with just one move. Just one move. He defeated me and the two tails, almost killing me in the sea. Samyu didn't know what to say. The rumors about the Whitebeard pirates in the ninja world were not exaggerated. Even underestimated Whitebeard. By the way, let me tell you some bad news. Yujito sighed. She voluntarily lifted her clothes, revealing her flat and fair belly. Samyu looked closely and was very puzzled. How did the tailed beast seal on your abdomen disappear? Because the Whitebeard pirates forcibly stripped the tailed beast from my body. The current two-tails Jinchuriki is no longer me, but a little girl named Uzumaki Karen. Yujito's words were shocking. Samyu, whose mood had always been as cold as a high mountain, had an expression as if she had been struck by lightning. Did one of their hidden clouds village's tail beasts change hands? Was it taken away by the pirates? Samyu was a bit dazed. She learned such explosive news inexplicably. She needs some time to recover. What a high mountain. Looking at the sunset that had already set in the distance, and then looking up at the gradually darkening sky, Izumi Uchiha couldn't help but complain. The ordinary people of the Land of Thunder all live on such high mountains. How do they live on a daily basis? How do they come down to purchase supplies? What puzzled her the most was that the so-called gang called Shaokungumi, their headquarters was also at the top of a high mountain. Izumi Uchiha felt that the Land of Thunder was like a novelist who didn't know anything, suddenly thought of an interesting setting, and then depicted a country like this. Such a high mountain, making ninjas climb step by step would be a bit tired, revealing a sense of unreasonableness everywhere. Perhaps it is precisely because of the unique geographical environment and living habits of the Land of Thunder that other countries have rarely attacked the Land of Thunder. Shishui sighed. After all, every time you occupy a stronghold, you have to climb such a high mountain, and you have to send ninjas to guard the mountain, which consumes too much manpower and material resources. Karen was looking up. Through the layers of clouds, she could vaguely see some light on the top of the mountain. It was because the night had fallen, and the residents on the mountain had turned on all the lights. We're here, Karen said. It looks like there are quite a few people living on the top of the mountain. The three of them immediately quickened their pace. By the time it was completely dark, they were already standing on the top of the mountain. The top of the high mountain was made up of several huge buildings connected together to form a spectacle. Each building had large glass windows, which seemed to be able to observe the surrounding environment better. There is also a bridge here. Izumi Uchiha looked to the other side. It seems to lead to the top of another mountain. She exclaimed. Can a bridge be built at such a high place? After struggling to climb up, if the gang called Shaokungumi didn't have any money, Izumi felt that there was a certain probability that she would not be able to suppress the impulse to kill them. Karen acted more like a pirate than Izumi Uchiha. Because she was the one among the three people present who had followed Whitebeard the longest. Karen adjusted her glasses. She showed a smile. Big brother Shishui, sister Izumi, let's turn this place upside down. Tonight, the Muku town in the Land of Thunder is destined to be restless. Especially the headquarters of Shaokungumi, it was hit by the destruction of three mysterious people. From the time Shishui and others arrived here to the end of the noise, it only took 10 minutes. A gang organization that has been in the local area for more than a decade, without any resistance, was destroyed by the pirates. Izumi Uchiha looked at the mess in front of her. Her gaze first swept over the gang members who were howling in pain on the ground, and then fell on the large amount of banknotes scattered all over the ground. Izumi Uchiha kicked a gang member who fell on the ground, bent over and picked up a stack of banknotes. At this moment, she was a bit dazed. So it's so easy and simple to raise money for the Whitebeard pirate crew and the Uchiha clan? So you can get so much money just by using violent means? No wonder, the Whitebeard pirate crew obviously has no fixed business, but they never lack money, so this is the case. Izumi Uchiha was enlightened. A door to the new world opened in her mind. Her mentality also gradually began to change. The imprint of the word ninja on her became lighter. The imprint of the word pirate became deeper. There's quite a lot of money. Karen roughly counted the harvest. She smiled brightly, very satisfied. I feel it should be tens of millions. Time passed another day. The Whitebeard pirate crew did not rush to find the second-tailed beast, because they had just arrived in a new place and naturally needed to rest for a while. Although they only stayed in the Land of Thunder for 2 days, the Whitebeard pirate crew's harvest in these 2 days was not small. Not only did they capture a Jonin from Hidden Clouds village, but they also looted a gang organization in the Land of Thunder. Adding bricks and tiles to the future dozens of Moby Dicks of the pirate crew. Gorrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr The Marine 6 Styles moonwalk is not like this. Whitebeard was teaching Kisame, Kakashi, and Shizue the taijutsu from the pirate world. Whitebeard held a wine bowl in his hand, and with a bit of drunkenness, he shouted, "You have to step on the air continuously no less than 50 times in 1 second. Some parts of Marine 6 Styles can be taught to children, and some parts do not need to be taught. For example, the instant transmission of Marine 6 Styles, the ninja's teleportation is not worse than this. There is no need to give up the more proficient teleportation jutsu in order to learn instant transmission. Finger pistol is also not necessary to teach. The basic weapons of the ninja are inseparable. Instead of training the fingers to be like a blade, it is better to directly stab someone with a kunai. Paper art is the same, mainly because there is a more convenient observation hockey, equivalent to having a motorcycle. Do you still need a bicycle if you have a motorcycle? But moonwalk, tempest kick, iron body, these 3 Marine 6 Styles techniques. Whitebeard thinks it's quite suitable for stupid sons and stupid daughters. What Whitebeard is teaching now is moonwalk, which is to allow Kisame and others to have air combat capabilities without the need for external forces. Although the air combat capability of moonwalk does not last long and consumes a lot of physical strength. But it won't be helpless when encountering an opponent who can fly one day. Tempest kick goes without saying, it is simply equivalent to a flash of wind style ninjutsu in the ninja world. A Marine 6 Styles master can cut a building with 1 foot. Even more powerful, cutting a mountain is not a problem. Whitebeard has seen such a powerful navy. That's a guy called Zephyr. Iron body is also a very practical Marine 6 Styles taijutsu. It is a very low-profile full-body coverage of armament hockey. Whitebeard believes that his stupid sons and stupid daughters, even if they learn armament hockey one day, they will not be able to cover the whole body with armament hockey for a while. In this case, iron body is a life-saving magic skill. After learning iron body, when you can't avoid the enemy's ninjutsu or taijutsu attack, you can use iron body to resist. Even if you can't bear it, you can barely save a small life. Whitebeard doesn't care if the taijutsu he teaches comes from the navy, the mortal enemy of the pirates. Whitebeard only cares about the practicality of taijutsu. As long as Whitebeard finds it practical, then take it. On the other side, 5 figures suddenly appeared near the port dock. They stood on the roof of a low building by the sea, and they could see that they were all wearing Hidden Clouds Village Anbu masks. These are the Hidden Clouds Village Anbu members sent by the 4th Reich Hage. Their purpose here is also very simple. The village's Jinchuriki disappeared, a Jonin and 2 Chunin lost contact. They naturally came to investigate the situation. The moment the 5 of them appeared here, they saw a huge ship docked in the direction of the port dock. The huge ship was like a giant beast lying in the port. Especially the exterior paint of the big ship. It's more like a giant whale. It's shocking. What is that? A Hidden Clouds Village Anbu ninja couldn't help but frown. How can there be such a big merchant ship? Suddenly, a person next to him narrowed his pupils. Hold on. That's not a merchant ship. You guys look at the black flag above. All 5 Hidden Clouds Village Anbu ninjas cast their distant gaze on the top of Moby Dick's mast. They saw a simple pattern drawn on the flag fluttering in the wind. That pattern. Under the mask of the Hidden Clouds Village Anbu ninja, the expressions were extremely solemn and shocked. If I remember correctly, it should be the Whitebeard pirates, right? According to the information we have, aren't they in Hidden Leaf Village? Could it be, is it a group of people pretending to be the Whitebeard pirates? Another Hidden Clouds Village Anbu said. Besides the legendary Whitebeard pirates, what other pirates in the entire ninja world are qualified to build such a big ship? The 5 Anbu ninjas present fell into silence. The key is, does the appearance of the Whitebeard pirates here have anything to do with the disappearance of the Jinchuriki? Does Samui's disappearance have anything to do with the Whitebeard pirates? But just at this moment, an Anbu ninja's peripheral vision suddenly noticed something wrong on the other side. His eyes suddenly widened, and his expression became alert. He immediately reminded his companions. Look over there. Hey, can you put away your big puppet? Biwajuzo looked up at Seisaori next to him a bit speechlessly. Your puppet is as high as 3 floors, wherever you go, it is the focus of everyone's eyes. Don't nag this kind of nonsense in front of me. Seisaori snorted coldly. If I don't make the puppet bigger, how could I hide myself in this kind of puppet? What if you eye into Whitebeard one day? Seisaori clearly remembered that his last very proud puppet was cut in half by Whitebeard with a single blow. From that day on, he realized that the defense of the puppet must be pulled up. As for whether his big puppet will be discovered by Hidden Clouds Village ninjas, Seisaori doesn't care about this at all. What if it's discovered? At most, just fight directly and tie the Jinchuriki back. Orochimaru chuckled. He was also Seisaori's old partner, he knew Seisaori's character very well. This person doesn't listen to any advice, it's useless for you to say so much. Just as they were walking forward, the tallest Sasori suddenly stopped and stood still. The puppet's head looked into the distance, as if seeing something. What's wrong? Itachi Uchiha immediately became alert. Sasori was silent. Let me take a look. Orochimaru's neck suddenly stretched out more than 10 meters high. His gaze looked in the direction Sasori was looking. At this moment, not only was Sasori silent, Orochimaru was also silent. The direction they were looking at. It's the seaside port. There was only one thought in Orochimaru's mind: how could the Whitebeard pirates appear in the Land of Thunder? Chapter 252, Meeting. Sasuke and Itachi, Tsunade and Orochimaru, Kisame and Biwajazo. Ever since the Hidden Leaf Village War ended some time ago, Orochimaru decided to lay low for a while. Because his strongest summoned beast Manda was beaten into such a miserable state by Whitebeard. This meant that Orochimaru had lost a powerful combat assistant. Under these circumstances, if he continued to be active in the ninja world, there was a high chance he would suffer a big loss. However, Orochimaru didn't expect that the leader of the Akatsuki organization would actually call him out to carry out a mission. Orochimaru, who didn't want to fall out with the Akatsuki organization for the time being, so he could only change his plan and decide to complete the organization's mission first. In Orochimaru's eyes, this task was not a difficult one. After all, there were 4 people acting together, and it was just about collecting some information about the Jinchuriki. That was all. He might also be able to take this opportunity to think about how to rescue Kimimaro from Whitebeard's hands. But what Orochimaru never expected was, before he could go to the Whitebeard pirates to rescue Kimimaro, the Whitebeard pirates appeared in front of him in broad daylight. The exaggerated big ship at the distant port, although Orochimaru had never seen it, but the pirate flag on the big ship, he absolutely remembered. The symbol of the Whitebeard pirates was almost engraved in the deepest part of Orochimaru's memory, making him unable to forget it no matter what. Actually, Orochimaru and the Whitebeard pirates didn't meet very often. However, Orochimaru's encounter with Whitebeard proved to be his most unfortunate stroke of luck. The first time, one of his bodies was destroyed by Whitebeard. The second time, summoned beast Manda almost died in Whitebeard's hands. During the time Manda was healing, Orochimaru was scolded by Manda countless times. So much so that Orochimaru had to leave Rechi Cave. Temporarily avoid the furious Manda. Now, this is the 3rd time he has encountered the Whitebeard pirates. Orochimaru couldn't imagine what he would encounter this time. Hey! Why are you two so silent? Biwajazo frowned in confusion. Your reactions. Could it be that you've seen the 5 Kage gathered? Orochimaru came back to his senses from the shock. His neck that had stretched more than 10 meters high shrank back. A drop of sweat overflowed from his forehead. He said, "This is much more terrifying than the 5 Kage of the 5 major ninja villages gathering." Orochimaru and Sasori, one playing the riddle man, the other simply silent. This made Biwajazo lose patience. Biwajazo simply jumped up and landed on the roof of a nearby building. His gaze was also looking at the distant port at this moment. Is this the Moby Dick of the Whitebeard pirates? Biwajazo's shocked voice blurted out. As one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of Hidden Mist Village, Biwajazo actually knew that the Whitebeard pirates were building a big ship in the Land of Water, and he also knew that the big ship was called Moby Dick. He had even seen the design drawings of Moby Dick, and roughly knew what kind of ship the Whitebeard pirates wanted to build in the Land of Water. But what Biwajazo didn't expect was that Moby Dick did not appear in the Land of Water afterwards. But it appeared in the Land of Thunder. This is not a replica of Moby Dick. How could such a large ship be built without nearly $1 billion in funds? Even the replica still need a lot of money. This also means that the Whitebeard pirates are right in front of them. The straight line distance from here to the port is only a mere kilometer. For a ninja, is a kilometer considered a distance? The moment they heard the 6 words Whitebeard pirate group, Itachi Uchiha and Biwajazo, like everyone else, teleported and appeared on the roof of a building. Sure enough. He also saw the iconic pirate flag of the Whitebeard pirates. The expressionless face of Itachi finally showed a bit of strangeness. Because he knew that his younger brother, Sasuke Uchiha, for some reason, chose to join the Whitebeard pirates and became a son of Whitebeard. That is to say, Sasuke is also in the Land of Thunder? Itachi couldn't help but sigh. The coincidences in the world are really puzzling. He was still thinking a while ago about when he would have some free time, secretly find his younger brother, and then forcibly correct Sasuke's path, letting Sasuke continue in the direction he envisioned. As it turns out, Sasuke just happened to come to him. That's good, it saves him the trouble of traveling all the way to the village of Hidden Leaf Village. However, what puzzled Itachi Uchiha was, Why would the Whitebeard pirates be in the Land of Thunder? What is their purpose? Wait. There's something going on. Suddenly, Itachi noticed something wrong nearby. As soon as he finished speaking, 5 figures suddenly appeared and surrounded the few members of their Akatsuki organization. The 5 people who surrounded them were obviously Anbu members of the Hidden Clouds village. Mainly because Sasori's puppet body was too big, as long as the Anbu ninjas of Hidden Clouds village weren't blind, they could see the anomaly at a glance. Looking from afar, I thought it was a giant monster, but when I got closer, I realized it seemed to be a puppet. An Anbu ninja from Hidden Clouds village squinted his eyes, one of his hands already resting on the hilt of his ninja sword, then he turned his gaze to Orochimaru and others. Hidden Mist Village Renegade Ninja Sword 7 Ninja Swordsman Biwajazo, Hidden Leaf Village Renegade Itachi Uchiha, Hidden Leaf Village Renegade Orochimaru. And a weird giant puppet. The Hidden Clouds Village Anbu ninja said coldly. This is really an incredible combination. What exactly do you want to do by appearing in the Land of Thunder? As an Anbu of a ninja village, who has a lot of information about the ninja world, he naturally couldn't fail to recognize the few people in front of him. After all, whether it's Orochimaru, Biwajazo, or Itachi Uchiha, they are all famous. You should be an Anbu ninja from Hidden Clouds village, right? Biwajazo couldn't help but give Sasori a white look. I told you to put this puppet away, now they've found out, haven't they? TSK, don't tell me what to do. Sasori retorted casually. What do we do now? Itachi Uchiha asked. Orochimaru licked his lips and suggested. If we don't want our whereabouts to be discovered by the 4th Raikage, we'll have to kill them all. If the 4th Raikage discovers our whereabouts, that man might come in person. The 4 members of the Akatsuki organization clearly didn't take the Hidden Clouds Village Anbu seriously, and they didn't even answer the Hidden Clouds Village Anbu's question. Remember, we need to fight quickly. Orochimaru added. Otherwise, Whitebeard might also be attracted here. The moment Orochimaru's words fell, he was the first to take action without any warning. Orochimaru's retracted neck suddenly extended again. Like a spear thrusting out, it appeared next to a Hidden Clouds Village Anbu in the blink of an eye. For Orochimaru, being sought out by the 4th Raikage in person is not a big deal. But if Whitebeard comes to find him, the moment he sees Whitebeard, he will definitely turn around and run away. Orochimaru opened his mouth and bit towards the neck of this Hidden Clouds Village Anbu. Ninjutsu Curse Seal. The Hidden Clouds Village Anbu who was bitten by Orochimaru had a curse seal that bound his body surface, making his body unable to move. Orochimaru's body also quickly rushed towards this side. An arm turned into a snake, and the arm was about to pierce through this Hidden Clouds Village Anbu's body. At the critical moment, an Anbu next to him quickly drew out his sword and slashed towards Orochimaru's neck. Orochimaru's movement paused, and his neck twisted exaggeratedly to dodge this sword. Damn it! You dare to attack the ninjas of Hidden Clouds Village in the Land of Thunder. The Anbu ninja who saved his companion quickly formed seals. Lightning-style roaring thunder. He spat out a ball of lightning and it flew straight towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru sidestepped and avoided this lightning-style ninjutsu. Boom. The lightning-style ninjutsu fell on the building behind Orochimaru, directly blasting a large hole in a thick concrete wall. Get out of my way. Sasori's voice rang out, and the giant puppet raised a foot and stomped towards a Hidden Clouds Village Anbu. The Hidden Clouds Village Anbu who was targeted by Sasori hurriedly dodged this foot in a panic. The puppet's foot landed on the ground, and the ground trembled violently. If it were stepped on, it would definitely turn into a meat patty. Really troublesome guys. They dare to stop us with only 5 people, they are really not afraid of death. Biwajazo frowned, and he formed seals with both hands, ninjutsu Hidden Mist Village technique. Suddenly, clouds of fog enveloped the entire area within a radius of several tens of meters. Biwajazo, who was in the fog, instantly appeared behind a Hidden Clouds Village Anbu. The back of the Kubikiribicho in his hand struck the other's neck. On the spot, this Hidden Clouds Village Anbu was knocked out. Clone Jutsu. Taking advantage of the surrounding fog, Biwajazo split out a clone, which immediately ran towards Moby Dick. On the surface, he is a renegade from Hidden Mist Village, but in reality, Biwajazo did not betray Hidden Mist Village. Biwajazo also knew the relationship between the Whitebeard pirates and Hidden Mist Village, so he sent out a clone, ready to inform the Whitebeard pirates of the situation here. Considering the relationship between Hidden Mist Village and the Whitebeard pirates, informing the Whitebeard pirates and informing Hidden Mist Village is no different.